What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Happy Tuesday and welcome to the Series E Season 3 Qualifiers Day number 1. I am your host, Yeso. You'll also hear a lot from me today as I'm going to be casting all of our games. And I am super excited to be here to start the process to decide our final 4 teams in Series E Season 3. Now, for those of you that may be new, you might not know exactly how Series E works, but I want to break it down for you, okay? Series E is a professional Apex Legends open circuit that absolutely anyone can join. 9 partner teams qualify and then get drafted and signed by our partnered brands. Those players then make $750 a month salary, as well as compete weekly for points and prize money against other open qualifier squads every Tuesday, and then against the best pros from across North America and Europe every Wednesday night. Now, with it being the beginning of qualifiers, things work a little differently. Our top 4 placing teams from Season 2 have already qualified for Season 3, as well as our top open qualifier team from Season 2. Being Team Lonely Fans. Now we have 4 more spots to decide starting here tonight. So if you and your squad want to get in on the action, you still have an opportunity to do so. Head over to matcherino.com/ESA right now. Get there right now. Sign up for the next day of qualifiers this Thursday, June 3rd, to get in on the action. You cannot waste time. Qualifiers are different this season. You need to place top 4 in cumulative points over the 4 days to qualify. You can't just show up on a single day and perform and get in. So get there right now, sign up, and get in on the action. I'm super excited for all of the qualifying games today. Our first 2 lobbies are done. We have decided the 20 teams in our final lobby. They will compete for points here very soon. But let's stop wasting time here. I want to head over to the GVO zone, join my co-caster for today, Jet Set Jamerson, as we get ready for the action. Let's get into it.
Series E.
Series E.
Series E. Apex Legends.
Apex Legends.
Series E. Series E. Apex Legends.
Series E Apex Legends starts right now. Changing things up than we did for the qualifiers for Season 1 and Season 2, and that actually creates a major dynamic shift in how these games are going to be played out, Yeso.
Yeah, I think it's a really interesting and productive shift for the qualifiers. It means you just can't show up and have one good day. You need to be consistent, come in and perform across a range of days against this tight competition to get in. And I think what it means is it's just going to produce higher quality qualifying squads for Season 3, and it means that it's going to get really interesting next month when Season 3 starts.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we saw during the qualifiers of Season 1 and Season 2 that a lot of times, when it came down to the qualifiers for teams that didn't look like they were anywhere near in place to make it for that day of qualifiers, they would just kind of either leave or not play it out. And so this time around, you are highly incentivized to stay in the game, play it out. You have 4 days to try to come up with as many points as possible, and consistency is key. And we got to see that throughout the regular season of Series E, Season 1 and Season 2. Ultimately, if you want to win out throughout the season, you need to remain consistent, like Team Pringles did, averaging 50-some-odd points per day every single day. So a lot of things that I'm generally just extremely happy about. I mean, and of course, along with all the news that's coming in from the overall Apex Legends landscape as a whole.
Yeah, it's been really exciting to watch, and we're definitely going to be hammering on consistency a ton through qualifiers, and I think you make a great point there. Team Pringles, obviously their jersey behind me on the wall here in the GVO zone for a reason. They weren't necessarily a team that was going to come out and top the charts in our placement, our qualified team standings every single week, but they were always going to get those 40, 50, 60 points, keep racking them up on the leaderboard, and Team Pop-Tarts was a team that did the same. Now, they weren't quite at the caliber of Team Pringles, as there was quite a significant gap there between 1 and 2, but our top 2 placement teams, that was the name of the game. Consistency. They showed up every week and performed every single night. So that is super important. And now these open qualifier squads have an opportunity to try and show that themselves. And there's certainly some interesting squads to keep an eye on. A lot of the names that we saw in Season 2 that didn't auto-qualify by placing top 4 are coming back here tonight, and definitely a lot of storylines there.
Yeah, and you have to imagine for these squads, it may seem like it's business as usual for them because we've been doing Series E for so long. The squads that did get relegated, it was 2 nights a week for the last 3 months that they had to compete. And so if they can keep that mindset, really don't think too much about the consequences of the games and really just play out the way that they did, they should be able to succeed, especially with what they learned over the season.
For all of you folks at home, the custom server, it was 5 matches in our qualifying round. We had 2 lobbies full of 20 teams apiece, and then 5 matches again in our final lobby. With the numbers of teams that we actually had 42, so our top 2 seeded teams actually auto-qualified for the finals. It was then the top 9 teams from those 2 respective lobbies that made it in. You can see the prize pool breakdown there. First place gets $700, $300 for second place, and then as usual, our standard point distribution, a point for each kill, and then your placement points there.
Yeah, the major change here is going to be, of course, to that format, where throughout Series E, on the regular season games, we had 6 matches per night, but because of time constraints, we are down to 5 matches per night, and so it does make things a little bit different. And it really, when it comes down to these kind of mixed lobbies with teams that you might not be as familiar with, we might see a lot of fighting on drop. We'll see 5 games isn't usually enough for teams to really be able to hammer down where their drop spot's going to be, if they get contested, how to figure out to take the 50-50 fight. And so it's going to be a lot of adjustment on fly for these squads.
Yeah, especially considering you just played 5 games in one lobby, and now you're moving into a new lobby with 11 other teams who you haven't been with, so that is just going to be another quick learning curve to adjust the drops, how you're going to play out. And now it gets really interesting because we have weeded out those lower squads, and now it's the best 20 that we could find here today in the qualifiers, all in a lobby together. So the competition only gets tighter. I do want to kind of note on a few squads that I'm certainly keeping an eye on. Team Superior, which is the former Team Cheez-It roster, are back in their entirety. Rakanishu, Joey Blackout, and Prodigy Aces after a rough finish to the season, dropping to 6th place in that final week, are back to try and re-qualify. We do see Ronnie, formerly of Nestle Splash, and now under the Obey Alliance banner, trying to qualify here. Other ones, we have Duplex here with a new roster, formerly of Team Applejacks. Tech and the 2 Brains 1 Controller roster is here. More Oi Senpai and the 6XZ's roster, which was extremely impressive. During the first round, they had 54 total kills over 5 games, an average placement of 2.8. They won 3 games in 5 to start the day. So they are coming in real hot here for our finals.
Yeah, a lot of interesting names, a lot of returning names as well, like you mentioned, coming out from basically our open registration nights and such. One team that I'm looking at, I think I want to really keep an eye on WHO or WHO. I don't know what they go by, but Vize, Davis Wave, and Sushi is one squad, and I'll be keeping an eye on names that I am kind of familiar with. They do have some recognition for me, and so I want to see how they perform. But it's interesting because a lot of these names aren't names that I'm used to seeing. So this is truly the qualifiers. This is truly something that's going to test not just the players, but myself, in terms of just knowledge on these players. So I'm really excited to see how they perform and what kind of storylines develop today.
Yeah, and now, you know, as someone who's been on now through the end of season 2, I'm kind of conflicted because we see these players returning, and obviously, you know, I've developed a certain affinity for the guys like Raganishu or Duplex and these other players who were participating, and I want to see them to have the opportunity to compete in season 3. But at the same time, I'm also looking for some fresh blood. I'm excited to see some of these unknown names, if they can go up against some of the best we've seen come out of Series E over the last 2 seasons. Who is it going to be, and can they take down these top caliber squads?
And that's one of the beauties when it comes to battle royale esports, just because of what it is. It's a battle royale. Only the cream of the crop will make it to the top, and so that's what happens here, especially when you do throw in the qualifiers. And so being able to really make your name known throughout all that is actually just an impressive feat in and of itself. And so I would love to see some new names, some fresh blood, of course, coming into the scene as well. We've had a lot of established names. And so we will have that kind of dynamic going on. We're going to have a lot of people trying to prove themselves, and we're going to have a lot of teams just try to maintain and, of course, keep that reputation that they have for themselves. So Team Superior, 2 Brains, 1 Controller, definitely looking towards them as the heavy favorites heading into game number 1 now on the board with, well, speak of the devil, Team Superior, who will have this Lava City drop. We saw at the beginning of Season 2, it was hotly contested between them and Team Intel. And ultimately, it was Team Intel that gave up the drop, and by the end of the season, it was Team Intel that had a better grasp of how to end up playing the game. You know, I don't know what was going on with Team Superior. Maybe it was just a lot of things to consider, especially when you're on that bubble there. But we saw through the end of Season 2, Team Intel, there was a bit more fire in their belly to try and get the wins, specifically in the last 3 weeks of the regular season.
Yeah, and that was kind of the interesting storyline that we got to follow there at the end of the season. It looked for so long like it was just going to simply be a 2-horse race between Team Cheez-It and Team Applejacks for that 4th place spot. And then we saw Team Intel come out of nowhere. They finished the season stronger than almost anybody. Team Razor also had a fantastic back half of the season, but Team Intel coming out of nowhere to secure their spot in Season 3. And now we have Team Superior on the outside looking in, but we'll see what they can do here tonight and through the rest of the qualifiers to get back in. I have high expectations for that roster, certainly, but we'll have to see how things shake out as we're on with Team XOXO here and getting underway. Again, like we kind of touched on to start the show, it's going to be interesting to see how these players adjust. There's all these fresh faces, even for the seasoned Series E pros coming in. They've got to adjust to new teams, new players, and how they're going to play these early games. And certainly our open nights promised the most action-packed early games, whereas pro nights, we got to those late circles with 12, 13, 14 squads still alive. They were much slower paced early on. So I expect we're going to get quite a bit of action here to start off our first few games.
Speaking of new things to deal with, it does seem like there might have been a shift in the algorithm for the zone here. We're seeing one. We haven't seen it in quite some time right now, but you know what? We have to hold on. 2 Brains, 1 Controller with their usual rotation through Train. They did bubble down. It might have been in a fight, but it looks like they're going to start working their way towards that rotation. Might have a team ahead of them. As you can see, the ping going down on the other side of the tunnel here. Peach having a little difficulty getting to that Train. He is the big boy, of course, but it looks like they are going to continue to rotate through. This one we saw just beforehand, the second ring now going on over to the choke between North No Name by Sorting Factory and Frag East. So a lot of teams are going to be prioritizing those choke point spots. As you can see, 2 Brains, 1 Controller. They've got the Western choke pinned down. They've got the No Name pinned down as well. And so they're going to make their way over there right now. Of course, they're running that crypto, so they're going to want to have a building for themselves. So it'll be super important for Tech to be able to get his team into position for that.
Yeah, and 2 Brains, 1 Controller, one of those 2 squads that auto-qualified to the final. So I hope these guys were getting some warm-up games in, because otherwise they are coming in cold here compared to the rest of the lobby as we jump in with Ego. Going to be a scan there, looking for some teams, and even Beast of the Hunt activated by Fulzy, but doesn't look like they're going to find any action quite yet. Nobody pushing them at the moment, so they don't seem to be in any sort of trouble early on. And still 60 players alive, so no kills yet, but some shots out there. And now we jump on with Obey Alliance, and it's Ronnie here on the Valkyrie.
It was important. They got that scan down. They saw that there were 2 teams ahead of them. So you don't want to fight directly into a 3-team affair. Right now, this is what we were talking about. When you see this kind of circle, when you see this kind of zone number 2, where it can end up pulling up to these choke points, you want to try and play it. If you can control teams that will be funneling through, not seeing as many Valkyries, and so the rotations through those choke points will be a bit more difficult, and you can easily pick up some kill points now. You can see Obey Alliance, they are holding that Geyser side, but good damage coming out from Ronnie here, and he's going to keep that team at bay. Eventually, they would love to make the push for it. Ronnie takes a lot of damage, but he will be able to just slide back behind cover here and pop that Phoenix kit, so he shall remain safe. But this is a squad that you really do have to look out for. We saw maybe throughout the regular season of Season 2, there were moments and sparks of brilliance for them, but they've hence had to make some adjustments. They're running Crook on that Caustic, which we saw more and more of, that Caustic in terms of this team. And if they can get this to the late game, especially for this circle, it'd be immensely strong.
Yeah, high expectations for Ronnie here. He was really the leader of that Nestle Splash roster, was the highest fragger with 131 kills during Season 2. So he is certainly coming into this with a lot of weight on his shoulders, but I hope that, Crook and Hambino added to Ronnie here, maybe they can have a better season. Splash struggled last season, and Ronnie looking for a better performance here and seems to think that this roster will give him an opportunity to do so. Just standing up here is Hambino with that charge rifle, and they just continue to try and hold down this choke point. Very patient play from Obey Alliance right now. They've spotted multiple squads nearby, haven't elected for a push yet as they're just near center zone.
Yeah, very, very slow game so far, and this almost goes back to classic Apex eventually, when we were on the onset of scrims and everything, where really no action would generally take place. We did have some fighting, but we have 1 ret running around currently, I believe. But for Obey Alliance, they're all about just trying to control that choke and get that armor up. You can see that the Gibraltar was greeting on the shield there. He was 46 damage away. That was 1 burst and 1 tick of the charge rifle to get there, as Exile tried to go for a peek with that. R301 got tagged big, helping himself as well. Z Davis needs to poke out his team superior, who have a great position here. If this ring does somehow end up pulling over towards Geyser, they'll have that easy transition. They'll be able to play Gatekeeper from this spot. But overall, their loot looks fantastic. You got the Bocek bow on Joey Blackout along with that wingman for himself, and the double purple armors along with the blue. So they're pretty much set up for the late game already.
Yeah, Team Superior definitely feeling very comfortable. R301 and the Volt here for Prodigy Aces, and just hoping to get an upgrade not too far away from some purple armor himself. And another one of those squads with a whole lot of experience in Series E and just very slow play here. We've only had 2 kills so far. All 20 squads still alive and 58 players alive here. So not a ton of damage done early, as that is the first circle closed. And now hopefully we will start to see a little more action as room starts to close in on these teams. We're on board with Goons, maybe looking to push a fight here. Scan coming out, detecting 3 players, is backing off, and that's the beast of the hunt here.
Yeah, you also have that defensive bombardment going down now as the peaks come out. This is an awkward position to fight off of, especially after you've lost one of your own. It's going to be that Octane that falls, bubbled down, and here's the fast res as well. The push comes in instantly. They slide right into that bubble. It might be into the killing fields here as Mooney answers back, taking out Verlust. Finds the second as Dupe will fall now, bringing this down to a 2v1. And Goons, who had lost the initial man there, turn things around. We'll see if they can push up off of this. They get the thirst onto Dupe, and Gildersons will be able to hold the front line, but the third party is already here as Luda comes in to clean that up. That's the first squad down. They did get their Octane up in time as well, and might have been a gold bag res. Unfortunately for Gildersons, he is kind of separated from his squad here. As you can see, that entire team funneling into him. Oi Senpai comes in to get the knock with the third party. Instant thirst as well. And Goons, while they do live to see another day, they will lose out on Gildersons. A lot of action breaking out across the map now. Over here at Geyser, you can see We Know Joker's losing out on 2. Mike Dark going for that portal play, but he is left down just as a solo here. Darkstar's coming in. It's the 1v1 now as he connects with those wingman shots onto Hambino and instantly pops that res to make this a 2v1. It's all up to Ronnie here. He does have that Valkyrie. He's gonna use those missiles, doesn't get a connect. Now time's gonna run out. We'll see though if Ronnie can clutch this up for his squad.
Clutch shots there with the wingman, and We Know Joker stays alive. Meanwhile, Obey Alliance in big trouble. Both his teammates dead. Now Ronnie was able to recover one banner, was able to grab Hambino's, but looks like he isn't going to be able to get Crooks, and We Know Joker has Moons, so they survive, live to fight another day. At least a point on the board for them. Down to 18 squads. Here's the action finally starting to pick up. They'll be able to loot up here. And the real question is, are they going to be able to get that res for Moon? Because we've seen plenty of those, 2 or 1 man rat squads in those late circles, but you're going to be hard pressed to win a game without a full 3-man squad. We'll have to see how it plays out. Stick drift up here, switching over. Great armor for them so far. They've got an assist kill of their own, and we'll see what they can do here, just biding some time. A lot of these squads just holding positions, looking for squads, trying to cut people off, looking to rotate into the zone as we come over to who you were talking about him earlier, Jamerson. One of the squads you're keeping an eye on, and they are looking for a fight.
Yeah, they are backing off for the reset here as Vize is hitting up that Phoenix kit for the time being, fighting over the high ground position here. You can see a lot of priority being given on over to that beacon. They were able to pick that up for themselves in the last round, and we have a better idea where this one's going to be ending. And so that northern side of the sorting factory building, along with the jungle gyms as well, will be priority positions. You can see pings going down onto the blue bins to their east, and so that could be a position to play off of as well. But right now, the ring is going to force a lot of squads into each other in just a moment. And so once round 3 starts, it should really pick up the action.
Yeah, WHO with a great start so far. A few kills to their name, and here in sorting, looking to maybe add a few more points to their total. Another team appears to be rotating in from the east, but WHO playing just very, very patient right now, and we may see that a lot from some of these more experienced squads when you only have 4 days to compete and collect points. Every single one is going to matter when there's only 4 slots left available in Season 3 of Series E. So all of these teams going to be climbing for as many points as they can. Meanwhile, there, Kabukui missing with the shot on the longbow, but stick drift up at the edge of the zone here. They don't have far to go, but they may run into another squad here near the tunnel. This could be trouble.
Yeah, they didn't want to play for that choke that goes over towards the no-name there, but oh boy, there's an entire team in front of Kabuki. He runs into them, gets tagged for about 75 HP, even pops the Q to back up a little bit more now, as they still have a minute left to go. They don't have to commit to this, and so I like that they do pull away, but now their options are a little bit limited, and this is one of those situations where maybe you would like to have that Valkyrie. You have 2 incredibly hard choke points that you're trying to push out of, and the Valkyrie would allow you to just completely bypass that. Back to the fight over here at Sorting Factory, where we have the Harbingers actually playing on top of the northern side of the Sorting Factory building. So this was the other squad that was contesting for that beacon. Now they don't have a Gibraltar, which makes it difficult to try and pick up that beacon above them, which you have to imagine they would love to get. Here goes down the scan. That makes it relatively safer, so they can actually go for it. Back on board with Obey, who was able to get one back on in. Ronnie able to get that res, but now he's dropped down to about 5 HP. Needs Hambino to buy him some time, but it doesn't look like there's a push quite yet. They do have the scans. They're stuck on the low ground, and so Ronnie will be safe to just go for the slow heals for now. But with 10 seconds left to go, they need to figure out a way to get into this ring.
Yeah, things are going to get pretty hairy here for Obey Alliance very quickly. That ring is ready to close. Thankfully, they don't have far to go, but There's going to be some gatekeepers waiting for them as we move over to 2 brains, 1 controller, and that's going to be Tech going into the drone, looking for the EMP in the tunnel. That's going to land on 3, and here comes the push from 2v1C.
That's a massive one because it gets rid of a lot of these barrels there. They were able to put down 1 more, but they get the first knock. Ultimention going down. Tech taking a lot of damage from that gas, but he's able to climb out of it here. As SeriesE and the rest should be able to clean this one up, but looks like a third party is coming in. Here's Ziploc Bags trying to come in for the pinch now, bringing this one down to a 1v2. Up above, it's going to be the last one falling down now. Now below, along with Mask pushing up. It was a 4-party affair, it seems, as Mooney ultimately does get finished off. And so now Ziploc Bags, Navalo, and Mask still playing this one out as a duo. Hit themselves top 15, getting themselves at least 1 placement points now, along with the 2 kill points that they were able to pick up. And now we got a better idea of where this ring is pulling up. It's going to continue to go to north, and this one is very much different, but a lot of buildings are still in play. We got the circle building along with the Dorito building and that long, I don't even know, it's like kind of cantina, cafeteria building just outside. But oh boy, Shinny PC losing out on 1, and now nice cage match, or excuse me, Nick Cage match. Getting just absolutely sandwiched. We'll get taken out. Team Superior though, still trying to control over here at Geyser now. Rakinisha with the Beast Hunt going. It does get cracked. He has that red Evo shield, will be able to pop a bat for himself. But it looks like Team Superior should be safe as we have hit top 12.
Yeah, Team Superior feeling good, and I believe that was Team Stick Drift Off that wiped out Oi Senpai's squad. Nick Cage match. We had been talking about them in a bit of a rough position, kind of smashed between multiple squads outside of the ring, but I believe they had the Wraith portal available. They were able to get a well-timed rotation to come in for that fight, and so they will survive for now, as we're now over with Harbingers in Sorting Factory. That red armor for Clinical. Yeah, Clinical here. And they're just up on this roof that we were seeing WHO on earlier. Looks like they have evacuated the area, at least momentarily. Ooh, there is a squad below them. That could be WHO. We'll have to see as the Beast of the Hunt is activated. They're going to get scanned as well. So both teams well aware of each other's positions. But does Harbingers want to go for the push here?
They do have the port down, as it looks like they are making their way towards that jungle gym that we were talking about just beforehand, actually playing the boxes just outside of it as well, giving them some decent cover here. Pushing up with the Beast of the Hunt in the flank. You do have a squad there, and they spotted that squad out earlier. We'll see if they can hold down onto this platform. It can be incredibly strong, controlling it with that caustic, but they are now dropping down to the low, right into the maws of another squad here. There is one knock, though, luckily for them. Let's see if they can pick up any kills here. One on the other side of this bin. They go for that 2v1, 3v1 peak, getting the knock onto Rakinisha, so Team Superior losing out. Joey Blackout to fall as well. They've only got 1 left. Or Team Superior. We'll see how much longer Prodigy Aces can survive for, but he is just down there, stuck on the low. And now we are down to 10 squads remaining as XOXO controls this high ground. The ring pulling more over towards that Sorting Factory side, and it will be ending on the circle building.
Yeah, everybody kind of grouping around the high edges of that king. And as we come over to Team Skirt, going for a push here around the bubble. Able to get one knock, chasing with the wingman here is helping, but going through the portal. Looks like that player is going to escape momentarily, but they'll be able to thirst a kill, and they've been scanned by somebody else. So here comes the third party. I believe there's like 4 squads grouped around this building right now, and it's all turning to chaos.
Yeah, you got the defensive bombardment going down outside as well. Exile will try his best to survive here as he backs away. It was Finicky that ended up finishing off helping there, but Exile, no heals left, will fall. Starlight Joe pick that one up. We're down to the top 6 squads here. 14 players remaining though, so we know that there are going to be some rats running around. But it's this big fight over the circle building now as Clinical is trying to make his push. Maybe they're just trying to recover some loot here, but they do make it under the safety on the other side of this fence. They've got someone knocked as well on the other side. They can finish that one off in just a moment. Starlight Joe, Light Star Joe, excuse me, throwing down those barrels to clear out some of the angles. And Gibraltar wasn't actually down. He was just trying to heal up, make himself really small. 6xZs will get finished off. We have hit our top 5 now.
No surprises that 6XZ is getting late into this game, but the push on Harbingers as the Caustic is making things really interesting in this late circle. Beautiful knock there from Nemusona, able to knock 2. And going to hit the bat right now. I think Harbingers are very well positioned in this late circle. Multiple teams trying to push though, and that is going to be Clinical getting knocked. Uh-oh, here comes Masked from Ziploc bags.
Somehow Prodigy Aces was able to get his squad back on in. Rakinishu getting a kill there, so Team Superior still in this as a full 3 as well. Don't know how they were able to stabilize and get everyone back up, but surprising to say the least. We're now down to 4 squads remaining. Scan out from Rakinishu. They didn't need that to know that the team was inside playing inside that circle building here. Now, we do have, of course, a lot of utility out here. They're going to have that jump pad up to try and utilize, maybe try and block off one of the entrances up top and make it a little bit more difficult for that squad to push out if they want to. We'll see. No defensive bombardment for Joey Blackout. He does have that golden helmet, but really not going to be much of a factor in this late game. And so there you have it. Our squads stacked on top of each other currently.
Yeah, the good helmet at least going to give him the opportunity to maybe have multiple dome shields in this late fight, but it might not be enough time for him to get that defensive bombardment available. If he can get it, though, when this circle starts to close and gets rid of the playability in the circle building, it could be a key to win this game. So we'll have to keep an eye on that defensive bombardment cooldown as Beast of the Hunt nearly available for Rakinishu. And okay, so we have one team over to the north, under the bridge there. One team on the roof of the circle building, one team inside, and then we have Team Superior down below. And that high ground is certainly going to be key in this final circle. It'll probably allow them to choose when they go for the third party, and that is the key in these late fights. Things about to get real interesting here as the zone has started to close. 1 minute and 40 seconds until it is all gone, and Beast of the Hunt activated by Rakinishu. It's time, ladies and gentlemen. First game of our Season 3 qualifiers, and it's about to get really interesting.
You know, with 10 players left, it's a 3v3v2v2. You can see the 3s stacked on top of each other right now on that circle building. The 2s on the low ground, along with underneath that bridge. FMS and Team Superior are going to try their best to buy their time to jump down as late as possible, which should work out. It should force the duos to fight initially on the low. We'll see who commits hardest, though, as FMS might have the latest drop-off. And it might be a fight over this fence, though. As you can see, it's on the other side. Right now, you can see the scans coming down from all sides of the Beast of the Hunt is still being used. Silence is golden. Does have that defensive bombardment, and with the bubble going down from Team Superior, even though they're playing behind cover, can be a very useful tool. So we'll see how long Silence is golden can hold on for this. You can see it's all about the patient play. They cracked now. They climb on over. Joey Blackout and Prodigy Ace is gone, and it looks like FMS will clean up Team Superior. The 2 duos on the low ground here, and the defensive bombardment is held till the last second. You can see it takes up the entirety of the circle, but the bubble has been used on the other side. FMS with the drop down now, fighting over the bubbles here up against this duo. They are winning out on the damage. Nablo to go down. The other duo try to come in for the flank, but it's easy for FMS. They're starting to clean up. Finicky and Mollis, though, now a little bit worrying as Mollis left in this 1v1 up against the Octane. It's going to be EXO that take away the win here. FMS just fighting a 2-front war, end up losing it out, as history teaches us, and EXO take the win.
Oh man, they had the positioning that they were looking for. They got to choose when they pushed for the fight, and we got to see that beautiful arc star stick from Silence, and then the defensive bombardment, and it looked like it was just going to be an easy wipe there for FMS at the end of the game. But the clutch from EXO, as we're just seeing them brawl it out with bodies everywhere, and they take the win. What a crazy finish to our first game.
Yeah, so that was just game number 1. We have 4 more games left to go in today's qualifiers, so we're going to take a short break. When we get back, we'll have game number 2 after this.
Versus coming daily under pressure. Working on the plot and the scheme. The true sign trademark is at the edge of your dreams. I'm talking, yeah. One shot, now the future is yours. I'm turning dreams into reality. In the lab with the formula and chemistry. Your memories spark and motivate and make the industry shake. Take the bars and the breaks. I'm talking one chance that I was so close for the goal. It's one shot, now the future is yours. Go!
Imagine you love frosting and filling.
I do love frosting and filling.
Oh, well, imagine if there was a way to enjoy that delicious goodness anywhere, anytime, out of the toaster, out of the box, out of one of those baggy thingies, with nothing but a thin layer of foil between you and...
Pasta.
Yes, Curtis. This is a commercial about pasta.
I love it.
Frosting and filling for your pasta.
I like pesto.
I wasn't born in the spotlight. Nah. Had to grind and shine like a star on a hot night. And something about the struggle now resides in my muscles. And every trial and trouble helped to hang my hustle. Real rock stars don't chase the spotlight. It chases them.
What's your favorite splash?
Hey, shake it, kiddo.
Love Dad. Oh.
I've got this. Kellogg's Rice Krispies Treats. A little love when it's needed.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Game one of the day done in our final lobby, and we saw Team XO taking the win in a crazy fashion, able to knock down Team FMS and start the day strong. We're going to get to our post-game stats here momentarily. I do want to highlight Team XO coming into this lobby. They were in lobby number 1 for the qualifying round with 6 XZs and Ziploc bags. And the way that lobby finished it out was first place 6 XZs. They had 97 points in their first 5 games of the day. Ziploc bags had 53 points, and Team XO had 49 points, but 32 of those points were from kills. So while they didn't have the greatest placings, their highest placement was a single second place finish in that first round. They had 32 kills through 5 games, so that was a strong start from them and definitely a strong start to the finals lobby. Let's check out our post-game stats here for our first game of the day, and it was turns leading the way there for XO, but not getting the kill lead. There was Luda over there on Ego with 7 kills to start the day, and Harbingers, who had a strong performance. It looked like they were going to be in a good position for that later circle, but getting collapsed on by multiple squads, they weren't able to get into that top 4, but still 1,500 damage there for Nemu. Sona is a good start to the day. We'll check out our leaderboard when we come back and get ready for game number 2. We'll see you in a few.
It's Kellogg's, Fruit Loops, Apple Jacks, Corn Pops, Tiger Paws. They're Jumbo.
Jumbo snacks, snack time heroes. Go take them on the go. Cereal, magnified, showing up for snacking time. Jumbo snacks, snack time heroes. Go take them on the go.
It's Jumbo. It's for snacking. It's Jumbo Snacks.
Stack Pringles flavors. Make new ones.
How much do you think Pringles paid these people?
Hardly anything.
Hey, you guys want to stack different Pringles flavors to create new flavor combos? Here, I'll go first. Pizza, barbecue, and jalapeno. The spicy barbecue pizza stack.
Get him!
Grandpa, what's going on?
Pringles. We're trapped in a Pringles commercial. They must have taken us in our sleep.
How can we get out?
We can't, Summer. They warned me this would happen and I didn't listen.
Stack Pringles, make endless new flavors. Stacking Pringles to make new flavors. Make endless new flavors. Barbecue, wavy, and sour cream and onion equals a 3-layer dip stack.
All right, welcome back, guys, to Series E, as we are getting ready for game number 2, but we had quite the finish there in game number 1. Team XOXO finishing it out as a duo, taking the win overall.
Yeah, we were highlighting earlier on in the game where multiple squads had lost a player. Obey had lost Crook early, weren't able to get him rezzed, and it just makes your job infinitely harder when you get into those later circles. But Team XOXO able to pull it out as a duo, and especially they didn't have the high ground. They had a defensive bombardment coming down right on their heads, but they were able to clutch it up. And FMS is certainly going to be kicking themselves a little bit for not being able to finish that game, but they get top 2, so certainly something to build on there, and I hope we get more games and more finishes like that through our final 4 of the day.
Yeah, this is a ring that we're not used to seeing as well. Not particularly often does it end over there on the circle buildings on the north side of Sorting Factory. So a lot of changes coming up now for this season. I gotta imagine maybe Champs is playing a role. The algorithm always changing from week to week, and so that's why it's important to have the practice when it comes to these late game circles. So now, before we head into game number 2, let's go ahead and look at the Mobile 1 leaderboard to see where all of our teams stand throughout all that. Team XOXO with taking that win. They'll get the plus 12 along with 11 kill points, so 23 points overall for them.
That's a huge game from Team XOXO, and FMS 17 points for them, so despite going down, still a strong start. Meanwhile, Ziploc Bags and Harbingers tied for 3rd there with 10, and one squad I'm really interested to look at is Dudes Night Out, one of those squads that auto-qualified for the finals based on their seeding. No points in the first game. And I also should note, Anime Freaks is the team including Bambino from last season's Nestle Splash roster. So a tough start to the night for those 2 rosters, but still plenty of games ahead of us. WHO, who you were looking at to start the day, were able to get 5 points, not able to finish all that strong in the first game, but still some points on the board, and they are in the top 7.
Yeah, it could be a lot of just shaking out the cobwebs there. As 2 Brains weren't controlling themselves, they found themselves on the bad end of a rotation, trying to make their way over towards Sorting Factories. And so they all have 3 points overall now, left in 16th place. But we still have 4 more games to go, and we have to remember this is, of course, the long marathon. Really is in a marathon when you consider 20 games overall that you have to play throughout the qualifiers, and then, of course, the top 4 squads with cumulative points will be moving on. So we still have a lot to go here. So let's not count anyone out quite yet. A lot of adjustments to be made as we head into game number 2. But it does seem like with a lot of these kind of roster shakeups, there's going to be some growing pains for a lot of these teams.
Yeah, definitely some things to work on, as we do have our Mobile 1 high performance moment of our first game of the day. Let's check that one out, and it is FMS here, the beautiful Arc Star from Silenced, and sadly they weren't able to turn this high performance moment into a win, but it was still a good look working with that high ground. Incredible patience here from FMS.
Yeah, that's the difference between being the first place team overall. I mean, you saw XOXO had 23 points. If FMS had won this one out, it should have been 22, 23 points for them instead. So that 6-point swing could have gone the other way. But FMS, they put their full attention onto the squad to their north, went for the bubble fights, but XOXO bide their time. They wait for the damage to go across, and you can see, because there was no huge win in that fight. They didn't have the armor swaps. They're just trading here. They're dropped down low, no time to heal. They were all basically at 100 HP, making this fight a little bit easier for themselves. And now Mollis left in this last 1v1. Does go down. XOXO pick up that win.
definitely a fun way to finish the game. We'll be checking out more Mobile One high performance moments throughout the broadcast, but we are getting ready for game number 2, and some of those squads we mentioned: Dudes Night Out, 2 Brains, 1 Controller, even Obey Alliance. Rough starts to the day, but still plenty more action here, and we'll have to see if they can get things rolling here in game 2. We have high expectations from those squads for a reason, and they need to start getting it going now. Still, as Jamerson mentioned, plenty of games still to play, but we are looking for them to show up and show out here, starting with game number 2. And Team XOXO, 23 points to start off. That is definitely a strong start to the day. They're going to have to keep things rolling. I don't imagine we're going to see them getting 11 kills every single game, but that's a strong performance there. We even saw during our qualifying round, we had 2 teams get 18 kill games. That was Team Superior had one of them in a game that they didn't even win. So these squads can frag out, and we'll have to see if they can keep things rolling here on the day.
And overall, like, while placement points can be great, and sometimes during these qualifiers, the kill points can actually matter a lot more. If you can try to take your pre-existing kind of skills together as a team, your natural synergy that you've been able to build up over the last 4 months, you might just want to try an ego. Don't play for center zone and just play for that edge and find as many fights as you can. Unfortunately, there for Team Superior, it was just an unfortunate circle where they couldn't really play for the edge. As you can see, they were playing from the southeast side of the map. Playing out over at Lava City, you saw the ring going basically dead center there in the middle, and so it didn't leave much in terms of positioning for them to try and find those kills. But we'll see. Maybe if we have a northern zone, if we have a western zone, I'll be able to play a little bit more edge and try to play out that style to pick up a lot of these kill points, because this is a squad that can absolutely team fight if they want to. They have done it consistently throughout season 2 of Series E, and I think they really need to go back to that style, especially here throughout the qualifiers, where you just ego every team that you see in front of you.
Yeah, and one of the advantages that they bring to the table compared to, you know, some of the other rosters we've highlighted with other players from season 2, or even some of the maybe unknown names, is they've been playing as that same 3 for months on end. It's the same 3 guys: Rakanishu, Joey Blackout, and Prodigy Aces. They had tons of games during season 2, as well as their scrimming, to build up that synergy. So they bring in a ton of coordination, and that is another reason why we have a high expectations for these guys. They should know exactly how they want to play the game and how their squad works best. Now, that squad has been one that is a little more free form compared to others. They don't necessarily have a set IGL, and they mix up the roles that they play, but they know what they bring to the table, and there should be no real adjustment time for them coming into these qualifiers.
Yeah, we're just waiting for game number 2 to get set up and all of our players in the lobby, but it looks like we are getting into it now. So let's go ahead and head straight into the game. Game number 2 out of 5. Again, it's going to be a shorter day. We don't have 6 matches like we normally do throughout our regular season, so you don't have as much time to adjust. So this second game, it's really about finding your footing and really trying to figure out how you're going to play this one out. As you can see, a pretty decent drop so far coming out. We got only one team going over to Skyhook, which is interesting enough. And so if anyone is, of course, keeping track of that, if they're fighting off the rip, that might be a consideration. Skyhook generally being a 2-team drop that you can go and challenge for. So if we see any early fighting, we didn't in game number 1. That's where you could end up going. But we're on board with Team XOXO, the winners of game number 1 here. As you can see, a very central drop for them going over to Frag East. It does look like they did pick up the beacon as well. And so now this ring pulling a little bit more over towards the western side of the map. We'll see how quickly they move out of Frag East.
Yep, they can be patient right now. Able to get a couple of blue armors to start off, so that's going to feel good. And I'm curious to see if we have kind of a similar feeling out process in game 2 that we did in game 1. The action was a lot slower than I expected, and then started to ramp up after that kind of round 1 circle closed. I'm expecting to see maybe some more contested drops this time around, but we'll have to see how things shake out, as it doesn't look like XOXO has to deal with too much early action here. They'll get to loot up pretty thoroughly there in Fragment East. As we jump over to Nick Cage match, Oi Senpai's squad here, and they are in an early fight. In Season 1, Wingman has that purple armor as well as a charge rifle and an EVA 8, so this is certainly a great way to start the game. Great shot there early with the charge rifle. He's going to hit a cell, and we'll see if they elect to push. They have a ways to go to get into the next circle. plenty of time to work with, but this was a squad that didn't perform as well in their first game of the day, weren't as dominant in the qualifying round, so they need to start to get things rolling here in game 2.
Early +3 KP would be nice, but their fight is going to be difficult here. A lot of open ground to try and cover. They already used the jump pad as well, so they won't be able to just jump across, especially with those white armors on Shitty PC along with Oi Senpai. It does seem the full 3 squad is over on that building. Some poking and prodding coming out from Season 1 Wingman. It could be a great time, actually, for them to swap off that purple armor for one of the whites, because he can easily evolve that into the purples for his squad here. As you can see, there's a lot more work you have to do to get that purple to that red Evo. Getting the extra 25 HP, you'll get a lot more value getting the blues and the purples for your team.
Nick Cage match. Looks like they don't want to go for this fight. They don't seem to like having to push through all that open ground that you mentioned, and the team they're facing off against does have that building to sit inside of. So they're going to go for some high ground. Doesn't look like they're going to completely leave the area, but they wanted some better positioning here. A shot's going to come out at range. Still looking to upgrade that armor. Great shot with the charge rifle there from Season 1 Wingman. Sheeny was able to upgrade to blue armor himself, and they now have the jump pad to maybe go for a rotation here as we jump over to Ziploc Bag. They're in a fight, and its mask is already knocked. Big trouble here for Ziploc Bags.
Oh no, the arcs are coming in, and Navila will go down to it. It's all up to Yo-Yo Joe left in this fight. It's not going to be enough. Double res now coming out from Mizuki. We'll see if any third parties come in, and there it is. A thirst coming out from Kabukui, as they will be able to finish them off. Stick Drift OP picking up those kill points for themselves now, and they'll also get the armors. The purple on Kabukui is... looks like a third party is coming in. Here's 2 Brains, 1 Controller. This is the squad that I was expecting actually to come in, but here is the EMP from Tech as 2 Brains, 1 Controller trying to find a way on in. They've got to be careful as the Valkyrie missiles do come in, and it looks like Slurpee G will just go ahead and pop that portal for himself to get into safety. Peach backing off into the building. So a lot of fighting taking place over here at Hot Springs. Is you can see that the reason why is because this is looking like where the ring will end.
Ask and you shall receive, Jamerson. You were looking for the third party, and we get back-to-back third parties. 2 Brains, 1 Controller has arrived in the area. They are going to get scanned, but, you know, no mysteries here. These teams know where each other are. The question is, who's going to go for the early push? Does someone try and rotate out, or do we get another third party here? As 2B1C considering a peek here. They're probably likely waiting for that drone cooldown if they can for Tech, as that is certainly a huge advantage for them. Great shots with the wingman from Slurpee, able to just hit 1, but good tag there for 45 as the arc star is going to come out and delete one side of that door.
Yeah, it's all about controlling the buildings here, and they do have at least the 1 door to work off of in terms of cover. They were able to grief the door on the other side, but without a portal, without any of the extra mobility, they're not going to be able to make a move quite yet. They do have a better idea of what's going on around them. As you can see, there is another full squad that's pulling up, and so that is their new worry here, just behind the rock. But we join on board with no competition. They've already gotten the first knock here. We're actually lost out on 1, and Moose of the Man is left, I believe, in a 1v2 in this fight. The scan's going down now as he pushes out. It's on the south side of Hot Springs here. Moose of the Man getting some decent damage off for Lust to go down. He'll be able to secure the thirst on Skittle Cakes as well. And now he needs to try and recover his squad, backing off, hitting that scan one more time, hitting the bat here to go for that full reset. Unfortunate for him, he was 17 damage away from being able to get the purple Evo, but it looks like it might be a reset coming out from either side, as his squad mates were able to hit a jump pad, it seems, to get out of danger, maybe into that building as well. And this is an opportunity now for no competition to go for the full reset. So beautiful consideration of the situation that they were in, being able to realize that there was a jump pad there and get out to safety. Should be the full reset for them.
Wow, that is huge for no competition. It's rare to see 2 players go down and be able to get that kind of distance to give themselves some breathing room for the reses. And healing up. So this is huge for No Competition to stay in this second game. 18 squads left. They're going to get scanned here. And really, I'm just waiting for 2 brains, 1 controller. This is just southeast, excuse me, of the position that 2B1C was holding. And we'll have to see if they want to elect for this push, if they feel like they have the information to go for this. We do see where that next circle is going to go. Hot Springs near the center of it. So No Competition is at the very least loving their position in the circle for the moment as we jump over to Obey Alliance, and they've got some of those caustic traps down to try and disrupt anybody that goes for a push. But they look like they're in a little bit of trouble right now as they're getting some arc stars on their heads.
This is a lot of utility being used. Triton does get the knock, but do they go for the full send now? You can see Crick is already outside that car, and it's the team that was above. They're just spamming the nades in, using all their utility, and that was a team that we were on board with just beforehand, who were able to stabilize FMS over here at the Dorito building not too far away themselves. But they do have to back away. Finicky still sitting on that white armor for himself as the team is coming in to try and infiltrate into this building. They do have the doors, they do have cover as well, and so no full push out. It's going to be a 3v1 push as they do spot out that member, but you can see the instant pivot coming up from Team Superior. Prodigy Aces gives his life. Finicky only finds one before he falls himself, and Maulus is left in the 1v2 here. Throughout the bubble, hits the triple take headshots with the 105, backs away with 1 HP, but he'll get taken out by Dupe. Team Superior now with the fast bubble res as well. We'll be able to get the squad back on in. They'll have the armor swaps to work off before the quick reset. And they do survive that push, the scan for their flank as well, just to keep an eye out as Anime Freaks are left in the corner here. We do have the squad trying to make their way on in, but Bambino, he's got that caustic. He's gonna slow them down with those barrels. This is gonna be a difficult push for this squad. We'll see. They have an opportunity with the Gibraltar to try and make their way on in as soon as they have that bubble.
Anime Freaks looking to get some points on the board. We mentioned when we looked at our Mobile 1 leaderboard that they had not gotten any in that first game, but they're looking for something here. Bit of a push. Ooh, that's going to be a knock. Great work early here from Anime Freaks, but they aren't pushing for the thirst as that's Nick Cage match. Down 2. There goes the third. That's the squad wipe. And Anime Freaks on the board here in game 2.
Yeah, it just looked like it was a just completely disjointed push. Typically, when you take this building, you see that bubble going down and then the team just full sending it together, but they just allowed them time. And against a squad that has a caustic, you don't want to give them time. You can't give them space. Once you clear out the barrels, you need to make your full push on in. You need to tank those caustic gas and know that you have the damage, but ultimately they fall. Anime Freaks, they're going to be able to reset here. They're playing on the edge. They got 30 seconds before they have to move, and this should be a relatively safe rotation for them as the large bulk of the server is already at center zone over by Hot Springs now, and so this should be a free rotation for them, and they'll be able to take up all this loot, take their time moving in.
14 squads remaining in that ring, about to start closing. The one thing good for them, they have that Valkyrie ultimate available. You highlighted it in the first game, Jamerson. It gives you much more flexibility in those rotations, especially because you can more easily avoid those gatekeepers at the edge. So that Valkyrie ultimate will come in key for that squad as we jump over to Ego here, taking what appears to be, oh, they're chasing some kills. I was thinking, why are you rotating this wide around the circle? But they're looking to hunt down some players here. They're able to knock down Helping and get some more damage, close to getting the full purple armors here for the squad, and they're still on the hunt here at Harvester.
Yeah, it's a third party actually coming in, and they're just picking up the remnants here. No kills for them, though, as they were just finishing off some thirsts. And so, oh, really, they only pick up this loot, but that's still great. Now Ring coming on in with 35 seconds left to go. They need to start moving. Vize gets taken out by Crook. So we have a lot of fighting going across as it looks like 2 brains, 1 controller are finally making their push on into this building, but they are starting to get punished for it. Peach now dropped down low. He will fall. It's all up to Slurpee G, but the third parties are coming in. Scans from every which way as Harbingers are coming in for that third party. Full HP as well. Now they'll be able to finish off the remnants of 2 brains, 1 controller. We'll see if they push for that port, but no. Instead, they're going to go ahead and take the safe, throw in the utility, throw in the nades, corner them up, and finish them off.
Yeah, Harbinger's able to hunt down the rest of the 2B1C squad. Oh man, that one's going to sting, but down goes Tech and Peach. The portal wasn't able to get them far enough away. Harbingers with a few more points on the board. And things are starting to rolling. We were waiting for 2B1C to come pushing into one of those fights down to their southeast, but it looks like they just elected to kind of hold their water, wait in the position that they had, and it doesn't work out for them here as we're over to Anime Freaks. And now, oh, into more action. Knocked there from Pyramid.
He's left by himself now. Only has the bubble to work with, but is not able to finish it off. It's going to be Team Ego that actually comes in. Never mind. No, it was, yeah, it was Team Ego that comes in. A lot of action taking place, and this is what happens when you have a more edge zone so far. Going off towards the western side here, a lot more teams are funneled into these chokes. Now here's Team Superior. At the back of their recovery, they're able to get their third back on in, but they lose out on Joey Blackout there. It was going to be Crook that picks that one up. A little bit of a misplay on that jump pad as he was trying to block the door now, but they're getting shot up from the side. Great turn by Rakinishu. Take out Hambino, bring this down to a 1v2, so they can slow it down, go for the full reset, but here comes a third party. Prodigy Aces needs to actually realize it's a third party and get out of there. Instead, they stick around. Who come in for the cleanup, taking out both of them.
Wow, tragedy strikes for Team Superior there. It felt like they had all the control they could want, but the third party comes in, and you always have to be worried about it. This is Apex Legends. There's always a third party on its way, and they get punished, taken down so quickly there as we jump over to Harbingers. They're going to hit that geyser and move their way north, trying to heal, get under this overpass and buy themselves a little bit of time. Couple of gold armors here means that Harbinger's very efficient with their healing here in the late game, as Nemusana just going to get behind this rock, and Harbinger's just trying to buy a little bit of time. There's a lot of pressure being put here onto Clinical.
Yeah, playing down from the low ground of Hot Springs looked like a death trap to them, so getting out here early on is going to be important. You can see a lot more of the Lava City is in here, and so we have a lot of circles where this one can end, and it should, of course, they should favor that now, and so I like this move coming out from them. They do have a team in their way. You can see playing over there by Countdown, so they do not consider that a viable option for themselves, so instead they're going to commit to this side. Commit to try to play for some KP here. It's going to be difficult. As you can see, it's a very vulnerable spot. They don't have cover, but they do have the aim. Nemusona hitting a lot of shots here with that Spitfire, allowing his team enough time to back off and go for the reset. Like you said, with those gold armors, they'll have a lot of that utility. It looks like they will be forced down onto the low. Very unfortunate position for them to be playing off of, unfortunately. But hey, they'll be able to pick up this drop, and we'll see if they get anything great off of it.
Yeah, we'll see if they can get my favorite shotgun, the triple take that we got to see a bit of earlier in the game. And no, it's not going to get them a whole lot. So Nemusun is just going to run away, but taking some shots here, could be in trouble trying to rotate back to his team. But the problem is he's working his way further away from this next circle. But they have at least a little bit of time to work with, as that's going to be some Valkyrie rockets and Clinical from the high ground trying to help out his teammate as we get over to Team Ego. They're in a fight here.
Oh, and it's the wrong side of the fight. It's just left a full Z in a 1v3. And it does seem a third party will come in. Boxa T will get that thirst. Team Ego now left on the Tomcat Rat Cam as he tries to back away, but we have a full 3 squad of Exterminators to finish him off. Vize will pick that up. Who with a big game number 2 so far. At least 6 kill points, and they have secured top 6 for themselves.
The Rats are never going to escape from Tomcat there, sadly. That's going to be the final member going down, and WHO find, they stumble across quite a few death boxes here. They're going to get scanned, so they have a general idea. Yeah, this team up in the building above them, and the question is, do they want to go for the push? Great armor, so they are pretty darn strong right now. They don't have the jump pad available quite yet if they want to go for a rotation. I'm curious if the other ultimates are available. I didn't notice if Beast of the Hunt is up, but they're going to get scanned a couple of times, and they're just biding their time. They don't seem in any rush to go for this fight as we check on the team above them. Mooney and Gildersons, they're just waiting up top, trying to get some shots. It appears another squad. So WHO just waiting very patient here. 6 squads still alive as we are running out of room on the map.
Yeah. Luckily, though, in this circle over here at Lava Fissure, there's plenty of buildings and little nooks and crannies with cover to work off that you can make your own cover as well. Yeah, I believe it was Vize who might have dropped down the mobile respawn beacon just above them, and then we have a better idea of where this one pulls. So 6xZs or Nades, Boxa T, and Wizzy in a really good spot controlling the western side of this zone. You can see Harbinger still alive. They were able to make their way on in. And Musona, we saw last time we checked in with them, was in a spot of trouble, but they did make their way into this Dorito building. They are safe, but oh boy, they are not safe up against the nades here. Ticking down is Nemusona as the Gibraltar pushes on in. They've got the barrel set up, but it's just on the other side. They haven't been able to pop it quite yet. It is cleared instantly as well, but those gold armors allow the Harbingers to heal up really quickly. They're now trying to punish this squad. They will have to back off. It's going to be Dupe and Skittles in them on the other side of this one. A lot of low HP as we have 2 fights breaking out on the third party as well. Joma going on in with that EMP. A lot of teams going down now. We'll see the thirst as 6xZs come in for the third party. You've got that Gibraltar Dome going down along with that EMP, but Verlust answers back. Here's Nades, though, along with Wizzy to try and push in. They've got to be careful here. They need to recover. They've lost out on one more. It's all up to Nades. And very unfortunate, 6xZs had one of the winning positions, try to go in, get greedy for that third party, and they get absolutely punished for it.
Wow, unbelievable. Harbingers, we noticed early on in that fight when they were getting pushed in the building, the enemy dome shield bought Harbingers some time. Nemusona was able to back into the corner, get a battery, while his other teammates were able to just kind of position themselves and guard that door. And it bought Harbingers enough time to get a little bit of breathing room, survive that fight, and now they're able to fight their way out of that building, wipe a squad, and now they have made it into the top 4, a position they are very familiar with from game number 1. The question is, can they go the distance? It didn't work out for them. They got pinched the first time around, but they seem to be in a much better place as they can gatekeep here to an extent here in the next circle.
They are starting to move their way on over. 6xZs giving up this position on the western side makes it completely free for the Harbingers to control this. Skittle case getting finished off, so we are now down to our top 3 squads. Harbingers have a beautiful position. Both of these teams have to commit their way on out. It's a 3v3v1, but do they have any mobility over there on the other side? Defensive bombardment with the strong arm to get it all the way across that reach. But take a look at this angle being set up as they have committed now down to the low ground. Who still alive? No, they've actually jumped across with the bubble there. Vize might be able to secure top 2 as this fight takes place. This is a beautiful rat play coming out from Who, but it's Harbingers now losing out. They traded back. It's down to the 1v1. If Vize can get up top, he can actually punish this one. We'll see if he gets up there. No, he ends up going down. Ultimately, it seems like to the lava, but it's going to be this squad to take the win.
Wow, Legacy MX there with the victory, and it looked like Harbingers were in the perfect position. They were on the side of that gap that they wanted to be on. The teams had to come to them, but the push arrived, and Harbingers goes down. Clinical trying to clutch it out by himself, but wasn't able to do enough, and we saw WHO that in a late game fight in top 2 aren't able to get it done. Legacy MX takes the victory. What a great finish to game 2 here as these teams keep it rolling.
I wasn't born in the spotlight. Nah. Had to grind and shine like a star on a hot night. And something about the struggle now resides in my muscles. And every trial and trouble helped to hang my hustle. Real rock stars don't chase the spotlight. It chases them.
Imagine you love frosting and filling.
I do love frosting and filling.
Oh, well, imagine if there was a way to enjoy that delicious goodness anywhere, anytime, out of the toaster, out of the box, out of one of those baggy thingies, with nothing but a thin layer of foil between you and...
Pasta.
Yes, Curtis. This is a commercial about pasta.
I love it.
Frosting and filling for your pasta.
I like pesto.
Hey, shake it, kiddo. Love Dad. Oh.
I've got this.
Kellogg's Rice Krispies treats. A little love when it's needed.
Cheez-It snapped. How's it taste? It's so thin, crispy, and cheesy. And I just want to keep eating it. And eating it. They love them.
Snapped. So good we may run out of cheese.
It's fruit freshing, refreshingly sweet, but without sugar, 0 calorie treat. They're all our top flavored splash.
It's fruit freshing.
Kellogg's, Fruit Loops, Apple Jacks, Corn Pops, Tiger Paws. They're Jumbo.
Jumbo snacks, snack time heroes. Go take them on the go. Cereal, magnified, showing up for snacking time. Jumbo snacks, snack time heroes. Go take them on the go.
It's Jumbo. It's for snacking. It's Jumbo Snacks.
Welcome back, everybody. Game 2 all set there, and it was a fun fight to the finish. Legacy MX coming out on top. Harbingers, who were looking like they were set up to take the win, not able to get it done, and WH there in the mix. So it was a fun fight to the end of that second game, and we still have 3 more to go. And remember, these teams aren't fighting for just first place tonight. It's all about the cumulative points over our 4 qualifying todays. That's today, this Thursday, June 3rd, and then June 8th. And 9th next week. So every single point matters. Even if you can't break into that first, second, third place here today, get as many points as you can. Keep it rolling on the next day. Let's check out our post-game stats here for our second game here. Put them up on the screen. There it is, and it was obviously Legacy MX taking the win. The Pro MK there, IGLing for that squad, bringing them to the victory, but it was Harbingers looking strong there. Nemusona, 5 kills in that game, a big part of Harbingers being able to push out of that building, stay alive in the late game. Sadly, they don't push it to a victory, but I think Harbingers have been really strong here at the start of the day and have been consistent. So if they can keep things rolling, definitely a good sign for them to qualify for Season 3. Meanwhile, Dudes Night Out, we were on them for the rough performances they had to start the day. 0 points in the first game here in this final lobby, but over 2,000 damage there for Verhulst is what you're looking for. This is a squad we have high expectations for. There's a reason they auto-qualified for the finals here on day 1. We'll have to see if they can keep things rolling as we get into game number 3. We'll have that and more for you after this break.
Stack Pringles flavors. Make new ones.
How much do you think Pringles paid these people?
Hardly anything.
Hey, you guys want to stack different Pringles flavors to create new flavor combos? Here, I'll go first. Pizza, barbecue, and jalapeno. The spicy barbecue pizza stack.
Get him!
Grandpa,
What's going on?
Pringles! We're trapped in a Pringles commercial. They must have taken us in our sleep.
How can we get out?
We can't, Summer. They warned me this would happen and I didn't listen.
Stack Pringles, make endless new flavors. Stacking Pringles to make new flavors. Make endless new flavor and barbecue wavy and sour cream and onion equals a 3-layer dip stack.
Hey, shake it, kiddo. Love Dad. Oh.
I've got this.
Kellogg's Rice Krispies Treats. A little love when it's needed.
All right, welcome back, guys, to Series E. This is day one qualifiers for Season 3, and we have 3 more games left to go. But before we do that, let's go ahead and check in with the Mobile One leaderboard. We had a different winner throughout this game, so we need to keep track of everyone so far. And it is going to be Team XOXO still in first place, but now they have a lot of new contenders really trying to challenge them. Who? Harbingers, Legacy MX off the back of that last win, put themselves in top 4.
Yeah, a lot of teams on XOXO's heels. Obviously, WHO tied with them at 25 points. Harbingers right behind them by 2, and Legacy MX with a great performance there in the second game, jumping into the 20s. So it's a very tight gap. I mean, just 10 points separating first from 6th place. So those are the squads you should definitely be keeping your eye on over the next couple of games. See if anybody can separate themselves from the pack. A win from any of those 6 will go a long way to coming out on top here tonight. And you do have to remember, obviously these teams are competing to try and qualify. The points are important, but there's also cash on the line. There's still $1,000 to fight for here, $700 for first place, $300 for second. So there are all kinds of reasons for these squads to come out and perform tonight.
Yeah, let's take a look at the Mobile One high performance moment of game number 2. And it's this hold coming out from FMS. They push out as a full 3 from the Dorito building as they thought they saw a moment of weakness. But you saw the quick answer coming out from Team Superior, and this came down to a 1v1. This is a very close fight, but Mollis ends up hitting the big triple take shot there, backs off, and it goes down.
Since the triple take has been in the game, that it's a fantastic sniper, and there's a reason it is now a drop weapon. But even at close range, it can be an absolute nightmare. And while FMS does end up going down here in 16th, at least we got Mollis able to put on a bit of a show for us there. So hoping for more action like that as the day continues. As you mentioned, 3 more games to go here, plenty more to get rolling, and we're not going to waste any time. It's time for game number 3 as we get back onto World's Edge.
And you can see the drops going down now, so we have a better idea of where everyone is going. So WHO is over by Tree. You got FMS going down by Launch. They might actually be able to take both Dome and Launch, so this is going to be interesting. We'll see. Mollis is going for a greedy play here, and there's an opportunity for Team Superior to try and punish that if they keep an eye on that. Right now we're on board with Legacy MX, the winners of game number 2, and it seems like they're doing a very conservative drop. It's hard to tell. Never mind. The X-ray's going all the way over towards the other side of Geysers. So this is a spread out one, but this is how teams typically take Geyser here. They can spread out. It's going to be no name as well for them. So a lot of cursory loots. No beacon doesn't seem like for them. See if the pro has that for his squad, which is going to be super important. This time around, it looks like we do have a northwest zone. You can see the ring pulling up to the northwest of them now, and so you're gonna have to keep an eye on places like Countdown, Skyhook, maybe even never mind, Epicenter, but nope, it is gonna be a Countdown ending.
Okay, Okay, things are going to get real interesting as this game goes later. I'm a big fan of those skyhook late circles. Just the verticality of that POI, I think, makes things really interesting, really fun. But we are going to be headed towards countdown at the end of this game, which is another fun one to watch. We jump on with Harbingers, sitting in third place right now, 23 points. They've been very consistent to start the day. The question is, can they get a win under their belt? Would certainly go a long way to grabbing the first place here and giving them a great start in qualifiers. Remember, these squads fighting for the final 4 partnered spots in Season 3 of Series E. So a lot on the line here. As looks like they're going to go for a bit of a rotation. We're going to jump over to Anime Freaks. Bambino looking to get back into Series E once again. Bit of a rough start to the day, but they seem to be getting better as it goes. He's got the early purple armor. He's on the Caustic again, and we've seen quite a bit of Caustic here today. Do you expect that to continue as some shots come out from Bambino?
It's been a lot of Caustic, and typically anytime there's a major tournament around, we'll see a lot of Caustic kind of peeking out when we know that games tend to be a little bit slower, teams playing a little bit more for position late game and having that extra utility from the slows, from the ticking damage as well. But I kind of want to see some squads start moving away from this one, as it seems like there might be some growing pains in terms of trying to run this composition, run that legend in general. But here we are on board with We Know Joker on the eastern side of Skyhook. It's a full 3v3s. We Know Joker pushes up. Mark Dark is sitting on that L-Star now, doing some decent damage, but he needs the rest of his squad to really start showing up now. Volt out for Moon as he throws in that R-Star, forcing out the bubble, but he's already lost out on one. It's a 1-for-1 exchange as Shorosuke will go down on the opposite side. Bring this down to a 2v2, slowing things up. Moon goes for that peek. As you can see now, Anime Freaks coming in for the third party. They're biding their time. They're waiting. They're not even shooting yet, giving away their presence. But here they go. They have to go for it now. As you can see, that Gibraltar has given up the game. And so they know, hitting for Flash. Pyramid almost getting that knock instead. We need to try to go for that thirst, but I think it's better to just wait for the finish onto one side, because you're not going to get that kill credit. But hey, I guess at least you pick up that loot. Now that's both squads just completely back away from this one. And so even though they tried to buy their time on this fight, they're not going to get much off of it quite yet. And they do have to be careful. Looks like they're getting flanked themselves, and they push out now. It's just a duo actually in front of them, losing out on 2. Pyramid's the only one left alive. What happened there? It was a full 3-man actually coming up. EXO, our current lobby leader's picking that one up. R-Star right on top of Gibby. He's got to be careful not to bring that into his team, but hey, there was a Gibraltar Dome there. They're going to go ahead and throw down that utility just to cover the retreat and go for the full reset.
The third party to EXO. We saw Anime Freaks trying to bring a little bit of Metal Gear Solid into Apex Legends, going for the sneaky play, just trying to push up to these squads silently, but Team EXO able to find them, and now the fight has come to Team EXO. They're still inside this tunnel, just trying to bide their time. We saw, I believe it was I'm Just Gibby getting knocked by that Arc Star, was able to get picked up, healed up here for the most part. They can loot the bodies of their prey. And it looks like they will get the breathing room that they're looking for, as that other squad outside the tunnel going to back off for the moment.
With round 1 closing, and typically when we have these edger zones, we know that there should be some more fighting. And one position that I'm surprised I'm seeing a lot of fighting coming out from is over here on the western side. Surprisingly enough, Lava Fissure is 2 brains, 1 controller. I believe they're recovering here, getting tech back into the game. And so this is a big one. Yeah, the respawn beacon is gone, so it looks like they did have to go for that respawn. Brought him back on in. He's got a blue armor for himself. Slurpee sitting on that purple, and Peach on that blue as well. So great recovery coming up from them. They're going to be able to utilize these replicators as well to get their economy on up. But they do have to worry about these southern rotations coming out from all the other squads.
Yeah, 2B1C just outside of that next circle, going for a bit of crafting here. Going to grab those materials, see if they can maybe upgrade those blue armors, get purples across the board. So they've got a little bit of space to work with. 2B1C, not really the performance we would look for from a squad of this caliber early on. Still, as we mentioned multiple times, and we will continue to do so throughout these qualifiers, there's still a lot more games to play. The qualifiers essentially function like a mini version of Series E with 4 days of competition, and you want to get into that top 4, but there isn't a ton of time. Just our third game out of 20, but that is going to run out quickly. It will fly by before we know it. So every single point, every single game matters, as there's just another peek at that circle. Then we are waiting for the ring closing. We are going to be heading to countdown eventually, and a lot of squads starting to close in on that area.
Team Superior rotate right into train yard into a fight. As you can see, they've already lost out on one. Joey Blackout, probably the next one to fall, and Prodigy Ace is just left to rat this one out now. And unfortunate for them is this team can camp the banners for as long as they want, really. And so now Team Superior, 3 games in a row, not able to find much at all. It was no competition, and are able to pick up these 2 kills.
Yeah, no competition. A couple of kills under their belt, down to 18 squads here, and it's just going to be some rat cam action there for Team Superior. Is the EMP going to come out here on We No Joker? Moon going very low as Nissisk has to back away, going to hit the battery as a defensive bombardment comes down on top of their building. Beast of the Hunt here as they prepare for a fight, but here comes the team up the stairs at big trouble here for Nissisk.
Yeah, he's down low. Moon has already fallen as well. 6XZs lose out on 1, but still the HP advantage is here for 6XZs. Looks like they are considering going for that res, and Box of Tea will be brought up unless the slide comes on in from the stairwell. Wizzy has to fight up against that armor now, forces him back, but he's getting hit up from behind and he will fall. It's all up to Nades now left in this 1v2. And his teammates have been thirsted as well. And it looks like We No Jokers, just a matter of time. They'll be able to finish him off. 6XZs going down. Top 17, only picking up 1 kill point.
6XZs, our best team from the qualifying round. They had 97 points in their first 5 games today to get into the finals here, and they are another squad that hasn't performed up to those expectations here so far. Going out early is going to certainly sting for that roster. Meanwhile, we jump over to Dudes Night Out. Seems like their early game has been relatively quiet here, though. Verhulst looking for some shots here, and they are already in countdown. We've been talking about the circle pulling this way, and Dudes Night Out, at least for the time being, in a position they should like. Dupe here playing with a new squad. No Rolders, no It's Aves this time around. Now working with a couple of new players, and it's going to be an adjustment for him as we jump over to 2 Brains, 1 Controller.
2 Brains, 1 Controller, really looking to change things up so far. I mean, they haven't had a great 2 games, but this is a team that has historically in the past, well, with Tech leading the charge, playing very centrist zone. You can see why. They are running that crypto, and he wants to be in a better position for the team fighting. Is a bit more hard to coordinate, especially with the timings on that crypto EMP, along with that port on board with Stick Drift OP. One of the squads that are trying to gatekeep now here on the southwest side of the zone. They've got a lot of ground to cover and stay safe, but looks like for the time being, they will back off, heal up, and it does afford some time for these teams to try and push up if they want. Kabuki needs to actually peek this one out, but it's a full set, but oh no, they missed the window, and then Gibraltar has to back off. You can see them backing away here, somehow surviving. That should have been a death.
Talk about full send. The Gibraltar comes flying through the window, but all by his lonesome. His team leaving him out to dry, has to run for the hills, able to escape at least for the time being here as we're on board. 2 Brains, 1 Controller. Slurpee gonna drop the portal here to try and rotate his team out of trouble, but here comes the push. Portal comes through, and that is gonna get his teammate out of trouble for now as Stick Drift OP in trouble. That's gonna be the knock there onto Finzar, and all things going wrong for Stick Drift OP.
Now the third party came in out from Dudes Night Out, and so Flinzar is the one that gets punished. But with that port, 2 Brains per Controller are trying to recover, but they're getting third party. Another squad showing up behind them. It's Who here as they do trade out. Peach down now. It's going to be Who with the man advantage in the 2v1. You can see Davis Wave now pushing up. against this Slurpee G, and he actually takes out Davis Wave. Greatsword trying to go for the hip fire with the charge rifle. And here's Team Skirt now with the third party to clean all of that up. We are now up to the top 15.
I respect the attempt. It wasn't a triple take, but he didn't care. Going for the hip fire doesn't quite work out. And Skirt now with a few kills to their name. They're inside the top 15. Still a lot of ground to cover in this third game, but we're starting to whittle it down. And just the crazy thing is we continue to see these squads that we know fairly well going out early. Meanwhile, Musa the Man getting a knock there onto Joey Cherish as we switch over to no competition. Beast of the Hunt going to come out as Musa the Man just trying to buy some time here.
Oh, Triton goes down to that Arc Star, but they do have the gold bag res. So they'll get him instantly on his metallic feet and be able to keep moving here. But that's beautiful as Legacy MX now coming in for the third party. They are in 4th place with 20 points overall. They have 1 kill point to their name currently, but they're giving them too much time. It's going to be the reset coming out from that squad as they start moving their way on up. It's not too far to get into the zone from here. We'll see if Legacy MX plays for that gatekeep as they do start backing away now. There are 2 entrances in, but they've given up the position. There's a team coming up behind them as well, and so now they might be in some trouble. There is time for them to rotate all the way up north, go through Skyhook, and then commit on to the countdown side, but it looks like they will stay here as that team has vacated that area. The scans coming out from the tunnel. They've got to be careful from this position.
Yeah, you talk about gatekeeping. They're looking to do it here just outside of this tunnel. That's going to be the jump pad down from Joe Max, but he's immediately going to back away. Interesting choice here as we jump over to Ego. They've got a bit of high ground on this squad, and Sykes wants to go for the push, but he's immediately going to go down. It's all going wrong for Ego. Here comes his team for the backup, but it may be too little too late.
They do get one onto Musa the Man. It's down to a 1v1 now. Luda here with the Eva 8. This is Tool you want to finish this one off, and he will be able to get Triton. But we know that multiple teams are in the area. Do they come in for the third party? Seems like XOXO are just a little bit preoccupied to go for it here as they push on out. Malice the Mama getting the first knock. It's answered back by the pro. Legacy MX in the area now. Defensive bombardment has been used, but Malice will have will have that bubble res for himself. And they should be safe. No gold bag, unfortunately, for them, but at the very least, they do recover. I'm just Gibby, not even on Gibby.
Yeah. Making it a little more difficult for us here, but yeah, Malice Mamba getting a very important res as this is a bit of a compromising position for XOXO. You're near the sniper tower, but you don't actually have the high ground, which makes it just so much riskier here because you don't have the sightlines on other squads at the very least. But that's gonna be the jump pad up. Good damage from Malice Mamba. The rest of his team going for the push, and that's the finish. I'm Just Gibby gets it done.
What a switch around, taking that high ground position. Ego now fighting the team that's coming out from that tunnel, and you can see they've lost out on one, but they traded back. Always Senpai though. We'll see Season 1 Wingman going down, so it's down to a 2v1, but the HP doesn't really seem that way. They lose out on one as BRS come in for the third party as well, and they've got the armors behind it. They'll clean this one up. We're down to the top 10. 2 squads down to a duo. Rizuki accidentally, actually hitting that jump pad to avoid a lot of that damage coming out from the defensive bombardment. So quick turnaround for him, but here's Turns now coming in. XOXO, we saw they were able to take that high ground position, drop down now, but it was just Turns by himself, so he'll just back away knowing the timer's there. They should have been able to heal up, so he doesn't have the advantage in that fight any longer. 9 damage away from having that purple Evo for himself, and XOXO sitting in a great spot to pick up more kill points. FMS, though, still stuck over by Countdown now as the ring starts pulling away towards a more traditional zone that we see over at Countdown, going over onto the eastern side.
I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. I'll say it's, some creative uses of the jump pad here today as FMS just trying to hold their ground inside of this building as they're getting pushed from multiple different squads, and that caustic gas going to do a little bit of damage here, but Finicky able to get the knock. The finish comes through, and he even grabs kill leader here with 4 to his name through this game. 7 squads remaining, 18 players. So it looks like we have 5 threes, a 2, and a 1 at this point, and the ring closing in 20 seconds. So FMS going to look to heal up here real fast, and then they've got a bit of ground to cover and a bit of open ground. So this looks to be a fairly dangerous rotation for FMS, because I assume there's got to be at least 3 or 4 squads already established in the next circle. So FMS certainly have their work cut out for them.
They will have the jump pad to use at the very least, but you can see the scans going down. There's a team across the ways, and there's a team just to their south as well. Trying to work from cover to cover here as they heal up slowly, the ring behind them. We do have that scan coming out from Finicky, and he's getting close to the Beast of the Hunt. And we'll take a pit stop here as the defensive bombardment goes down on them. Sliver of an angle there for that squad. The bubble has been used as well, so we're not going to have this one. And it might have to be a full send as they try to make their way on in. The high ground team trying to punish them. Again, working from cover to cover, but they have the ring to their back now. And Finicky starts to move on in. He's taking so much damage now from the ring. You can see a lot of squads up top as they are moving as well with that ring. It's the top 6 squads, I believe. There's still a duo running around right now, but it seems they will be able to recover and just work off this small sliver of corner.
Bit by bit, FMS able to work their way into the next circle. And you want to talk about just the smallest bit of cover that they are working with. It's going to work out for them for the moment. Meanwhile, we're on board with Obey Alliance. 6 squads remaining. That's the ultimate coming out there from Crook. He's throwing out some of those canisters to try and control this space around the east side of Countdown. He's got his scout out here. Let's see if they can get anything. Defensive bombardment after the dome shield is already done, and they're looking to push. They want these kills. There's a squad here they believe they can take down. That's the dome shield from Hambino. He's going to buy some time and hit a cell as the rest of his squad just trying to make use of this high ground.
Yeah, they want to come in for the third party here as we do have a little bit of ring around the rosy. Picks coming out, but there's no trades. FMS are still up as a full 3, so Obey cannot punish this whatsoever. They at least pick up 1 kill throughout all of that, which it's been a bit of a slower game, but they at least have 4 kills to their name right now. They have hit top 5 as well. One team might be down as just the solo, and that might be the Rat. We'll see as everyone's going hunting for that one, but they have to start moving this one, pulling even further to the east. Towards that car, and that's gonna be Malice Mama and his company in the position for it. They do have a squad just below as they're going for that redeploy. It was a duo, I believe, that's running off now, and so they're gonna try to avoid a lot of the fighting here on the edges. They can try to play out of bounds for as long as possible on the north side, but eventually they will have to drop down, and they're gonna be dropping down straight on top of Obey. Here comes out the push from Silence's Golden and Finicky. Their bubble has already been used. Exile now dropping down to the low, and as you can see, Obey turning on to that squad that went up for that Valkyrie redeploy. Looks like they are safe for the time being, losing out on 1. Obey picked that one up, and that was a risky play. They were trying to avoid as much of this fighting as possible, but it was not, as now XOXO Obey Alliance with full control with a lot of safety. Obey starting to make their move. They see the bubble down. How much more extra utility do they have? How many more barrels can they throw on in onto XOXO? If they had a Nox gas grenade, that would be absolutely massive for them, as you have XOXO just holding it down, finishing off, helping, and Exile. The top 2 squads remaining here, XOXO versus Team Obey in the final 3v3.
I love Obey Alliance's composition for this moment. They've got tons of utility just naturally with the kits of their legends, so I think they have a bit of an advantage here, but XOXO has been performing strong tonight. They're working with the Kraber, so if they can keep Obey Alliance at a distance and use the range that they have, could be to their benefit. Kill leader is turns right now. 5 kills so far in this game. Gibby going to, that's the defensive bombardment here out on top of them. But that means that I don't know if they have their defensive bombardment available. They do have the jump pad. Great shot for 123. The shred from the R301, and here comes XOXO.
Absolutely beautiful now as you have the man advantage. They're trying to pop that fast res, and we'll see. No punish coming out yet. As Obey Alliance are trying to make the push on in. They got the knock onto turns, bringing this down to a 3v2, but their HP not the greatest here as Crook still needs to heal up his HP. But it looks like time is running out, but the climb up comes out and they're losing out on more members. It's all up to Malice Mamba, bringing this one down to a 2v1. But ultimately, he has more HP than the last two players combined. He's got the EVA 8 as well. And that tap from the flank, he gets one, and EXO will be able to clutch up and take the win here in game number 3.
What an absolute finish there. The 1v2, and you mentioned the key was the health available there, and it works out so well. He's able to sneak up behind the two players there of Obey Alliance, and I was thinking it looked like they had everything that they needed. The defensive bombardment came out, was able to allow them to close ground there, and then they get the 2 initial knocks, and it looks like this should be it. Obey Alliance should take this game, but EXO coming in clutch again. 2 wins in the first 3 games tonight. We love to see it.
Yeah, we're going to take a short break. When we get back, we'll have game number 4 of the evening after this.
Imagine you love frosting and filling.
I do love frosting and filling.
Oh, well, imagine if there was a way to enjoy that delicious goodness anywhere, anytime, out of the toaster, out of the box, out of one of those baggy thingies, with nothing but a thin layer of foil between you and...
Pasta.
Yes, Curtis. This is a commercial about pasta.
I love it.
Frosting and filling for your pasta.
I like pesto.
I wasn't born in the spotlight. Nah. Had to grind and shine like a star on a hot night. And something about the struggle now resides in my muscles. And every trial and trouble helped to hang my hustle. Real rock stars don't chase the spotlight. It chases them.
Stack Pringles flavors. Make new ones.
How much do you think Pringles paid these people?
Hardly anything.
Hey, you guys want to stack different Pringles flavors to create new flavor combos? Here, I'll go first. Pizza, barbecue, and jalapeno. The spicy barbecue pizza stack.
Get him!
Grandpa, what's going on?
Pringles. We're trapped in a Pringles commercial. They must have taken us in our sleep.
How can we get out?
We can't, Summer. They warned me this would happen, and I didn't listen.
Stack Pringles, make endless new flavors. Stacking Pringles to make new flavors. Make endless new flavors. Barbecue, wavy, and sour cream and onion equals a 3-layer dip stack.
Welcome back, folks. Game 3 is all done, and we see Team EXO able to take their second victory in our first 3 games of the qualifiers here. It is day 1 of these qualifiers for Season 3 of Series E, and it has certainly delivered so far. Great finish. The clutch 1v2 gives Team EXO the win over Obey Alliance. Let's check out our post-game stats here for our 3rd game of the day, and it was turns leading the way once again for Team EXO, and Malice Mamba clutching it up. Great plays on the Gibraltar there. 5 kills for him does give him kill leader, but Crook does lead in the damage department. Almost 2,000 damage, and our best game so far of this finals lobby from Obey Alliance. They still have some work to do. A rough start in the first 2 games certainly set themselves behind, and I had high expectations for this squad. They led their qualifying lobby, easily took first place, won 3 of 5 games in that lobby, but they have not shown up here in the last 2 games, finally delivering in the third. We'll have to see if they can get over the hump, grab a win themselves. We got 2 games remaining on the day, so don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. The Series E action continues after this.
Versus coming daily under pressure. Working on the plot and the scheme. The true style trademark is at the edge of your dreams. I'm talking. Yeah. One shot, now the future is yours. I'm turning dreams into reality. In the lab with the formula and chemistry. Your memories spark and motivate and make the industry shake. With the bars and the breaks, I'm talking one chance that I was so close for the goal. It's one shot, now the future is yours. Go!
It's Kellogg's, Fruit Loops, Apple Jacks, Corn Pops, Tiger Paws. They're Jumbo.
Jumbo snacks, snack time heroes. Go take them on the go. Cereal, magnified, showing up for snacking time. Jumbo snacks, snack time heroes. Go take them on the go.
It's Jumbo. It's for snacking. It's Jumbo Snacks.
Hey, shake it, kiddo. Love Dad. Oh.
I've got this.
Kellogg's Rice Krispies Treats. A little love when it's needed.
All right, welcome back, guys, to Series E, and it's weird to say, but we're down to our final 2 games of the day. It all feels so short, as we only have 5 games played throughout all of our qualifying nights, and so now it's coming down to the wire. Like you said, Yeso, we have $1,000 on the line, along with ultimately the prize after our next 3 days of earning a spot here in Series E.
Yeah, that $1,000 is certainly important, but the big prize is that spot in Series E Season 3. That means you get $750 a month salary. You can then compete every Tuesday and Wednesday night for more cash. So there is certainly a lot on the line here for all of these squads, and crazy that we're going to have to whittle down. We had 42 teams compete today, and we're only going to take 4 of those at the end of all of this. And we could even see more signups if people head over and try and get in on the action, because there's still time to do so. But only 4 will move on to Season 3, get that sponsorship, get on that team, and compete against some of the best squads you see across the world, the TSMs, the Cloud9s, the CLGs, and more. So certainly a lot to fight for here. Let's check our Mobile One leaderboard, though, after 3 games, and no surprises here. Team XOXO with 2 wins under their belt in first place and have opened up a 21-point gap.
And really, when we look at that 21-point gap, it seems so strong for them, especially with how consistent they're being. 2 wins overall. But surprisingly enough, it's on the other side of the leaderboard. We're looking at teams like Team Superior, 2 Brains for Controllers, 6XZs, teams that really did perform throughout Series E, but now they are struggling here during the qualifiers.
Yeah, and we kind of mentioned it at the top of the day. We saw some of those squads, and I've touched on them multiple times, that were really strong in the qualifying lobbies to get into this final lobby. We can highlight Team Superior, for example, as well as Obey Alliance. They topped their lobby through their first 5 games of the day, but they haven't necessarily shown up here in the next 5 games, and it's where, you know, the competition gets stiffer. These are the best teams we could pull out of that group of 42, and it just means it's going to be that much more difficult. Thankfully, Obey Alliance get up to 24 points. They had a strong performance in that 3rd game, but now it's important to carry that momentum into games 4 and 5. You cannot rest on your laurels, because every single point matters.
Yeah, let's take a look at the Mobile One high performance moment of game number 3, and it's Team XOXO trying to survive the onslaught here, and starts off great for them. They're able to get that first kill, but you can see the fast res coming out on the other side. Ronnie is just trying to be an absolute nuisance here and just keep them contained while the res goes off.
Yeah, and the push comes in from Obey Alliance, and why we thought they were so strong here is, look, they get that first knock, and they're even able to get a second one, right? They have one player go down, but when you're looking at a 1v2 advantage, there's no time where you're ever picking that one player to win it, but it was the health advantage pushing up onto the top of the car there, and XOXO pulls out a crazy victory. That's the Mobile One high performance moment, and we're ready to get into game 4, our second to last game of the day. Team XOXO with that strong lead, looking to keep building on it, while a bunch of other squads just trying to chase them down here with 2 games remaining.
Yeah, one more good game and they secure themselves the $700 for coming in first place. At the very least, this time around, again, the zone really favoring the western side of the map today, as this time around we'll have a thermal station ending, and so this one's going to be more southern, but still going over to the west. But on board with Team XOXO playing off of Frag East, we know why. Teams really do favor this drop. It's so central, you get great loot, you can also pick up that beacon for themselves along with those cargo bots, so securing yourself some gold equipment can be absolutely incredible for themselves. The bow check bow coming in for just Gibby, and I don't know if they pick up the cargo bot quite yet, but that will be some better loot for them. Honestly, if you want, you can also try to pop purples to try to get the armor for yourself, but we'll see exactly what they do. They've got 3 blues to hand around, so they're in a pretty decent state here for the early game.
I think you're a fantastic salesman, Jamerson. 2 wins out of these Fragment East drops so far today for Team XOXO. So I'm going to start dropping there in all of my competitive games, see if I can fight my way out. But Team XOXO have looked strong here to start as we jump over to BRS. They were taking some early damage here, looking west to see if they can maybe get eyes on that squad. But at least Rasuki working with blue armor here to start, and they're able to just slow things down here a little bit and get back to looting.
Yeah, and so finally we're seeing some challenges going over here by Skyhook. Like I said, it is a 2-team drop, maybe even 3 sometimes, but it's going to be 2 brains, 1 controller trying to change things up a little bit. As you can see, Tech going over to that Valkyrie now, so playing for center zone. I didn't think was something that was going to work out in this lobby. I think really playing for this early aggression is going to be something that works out for them. Tech going on in, but he's not able to get the knock. Luckily for him, the fill-in of Greek to take out Yo-Yo Joe. We'll keep him alive for the time being. He does need to heal up, but they've taken out Mask now, and I believe it's just Navalo left. They should be able to finish him off in just a moment, as they give Tech that moment of reprieve, and there he is on the low ground. Navalo will get finished off. And it's 2 brains, 1 controller, changing things up, finding the early game kills. This is the game plan that I wanted to see out of our more seasoned squads.
I was getting really worried for Tech there. They hit that early arc start. He goes for the aggressive push with that EVA 8, and it looked like it was an easy kill to secure, but all of a sudden, Tech wasn't able to finish off that kill. Got really low, but thankfully the backup from Greek and Slurpee comes through. They're able to grab those early kills, so 3 points early on to 2 brains, 1 controller is certainly going to be how they want to start these games. As we jump over to Dude's Night Out, they were on the right side of that Mobile One leaderboard, which means they are outside looking in right now. They are a squad that definitely needs to get as many points as they can out of these remaining 2 games. You aren't necessarily worried about the $1,000 tonight, but it's about racking up as many points and getting something to build on here for Thursday.
This is a great chance for 2 brains, 1 controller who find themselves on the wrong side of the leaderboard today. With this ring pulling down here to the southwest, coming out from the western side, they can really try to utilize that spot, play the edge. And we know that there are multiple teams over at Skyhook. This is the chance for them to try and pick up a lot of kill points. They need to keep up the aggression. A team, though, that's going to be slow playing this one is going to be Dude's Night Out, who find themselves in a great spot on the north side of Thermal to try and find kill points in a relatively safe position. They have the 30-30 repeater on Skittle here. Don't know what the rest of the loadout looks like. We'll see if they can pick up some early game and mid-game kill points here. As you can see, Skittles now redirecting his focus to the northern choke, but no competition here, getting flanked. They have to be careful, and Musa the man goes for it behind, but here's the EMP right on top of them, taking some damage, but Musa will be able to go for that re-peek. He's got the scan as well, and he notes that they all ran away, so unfortunate that he popped that Beast of the Hunt. He'll not be able to get much value off of this one.
Yeah, a bit of a defensive EMP there, that squad throwing it in just to buy themselves enough space to retreat, because it looked like no competition was a little bloodthirsty. Looked like they maybe wanted to go for that push, grab themselves some early kills, but it isn't going to quite work out there, as it looks like I think we had a squad there dropping in with a Valkyrie ultimate just north of where no competition is, so they seem at least curious about that as we swap over to Obey Alliance, and they are on the east side of Thermal Station here, setting up some of those caustic traps.
It looks like this was the squad that came in for that redeploy, and they're getting punished for it now. A lot of nades going down. Still over here, Lava Fissure, Harbingers in a fight. It might be 2 brains, 1 controller here. Like I said, trying to play the edges. We'll find out. Now Musana, though, with that longbow, trying to buy some space for his squad. They'll just be able to drop down now, go over here towards Hot Springs and redeploy if they need to. But Harbingers, they've got some great loot. Clinical with that gold armor, the fast reset for them. Lightstar Joe, though, will have to hoof it, though, and they're just going straight for that redeploy as the missiles hone in on them. And it is 2 brains, 1 controller that were trying to play the edge, like I said. Unfortunate for them, they weren't able to get the hard engage onto that team, but there should be more opportunities here on the northern side of the zone. As you can see, another team is moving up. It does seem like there might be a squad ahead of them. Nope, that's just going to be, excuse me, the replicators.
2 brains, 1 controller here. I won't speculate as to why the swap comes in for Greek, but I will say I personally am hoping that, you know, with the way the day has started for 2B1C, not getting a ton of points through our first 3 games, that hopefully bringing Greek in here does revitalize this roster in our final 2 games of the day, as they need to get some more points on the board. As we're back over to 6XZs here. Nade's trying to get some shots with that R301, and he's going to find a player here. Some great damage there, just looking, I believe he's by himself. Where is his team?
Yeah, it looks like the rest of the team is there, though, just on his right, getting some decent damage off, but I'm surprised that they haven't been able to take this squad out yet. Nades has been able to just free fire now, but he's getting shot up from behind, and so they cannot chase any longer. 6XZs unfortunately miss out on that, but 2 brain, 1 controller. They used that redeploy, went up to the north side, 2 countdown, were able to pick up 2 more kills. So the game plan going super well for them, because they've already picked up 5 kills for themselves.
Shot from the charge rifle coming through. Somebody's considering a third party here, as that's going to be some good damage there onto Azizi. They're going to drop down below the overpass here, and it's Oi Senpai's squad. It's a Nick Cage match looking to hunt down these boys. They're going to get scanned, so they have a good idea of where these players are. The question is do they go for the push? Good defensive bombardment. That should buy 6XZs the space that they need to try and rotate away from this fight.
The bridge can be extremely difficult to fight out of right now. As you can see, there is some cover. You have some of the posts to work off of, but again, you have to be careful. Very vulnerable from a lot of sides. Nick Cage match, we'll just go ahead and use this opportunity to loot up here. Now when it comes to the north side of this ring, eventually 2 brains, 1 controller will rear their heads over here. And so we'll see. It's still 1 minute and 52 seconds to go, though, and you can see all the squads right now. They were trying to pick up that drop, the world drop that came out just to the northeast, but no one really can run out for it currently. As you can see, it's just going to be a very neutral game so far. We're down to 17 squads, 49 players here in the round number 2.
Nick Cage match just being very patient, holding their position here on top of the bridge, trying to get some shots there, and they're actually going to get the knock on a box of tea. They're going to try and chase down 6XZ here. Beast of the Hunt out from Season 1 Wingman, the jump pad available, and here comes Nick Cage match. Scan as immediately they get onto the high ground. Dome Shield going to buy at least a little bit of time here for 6XZs, but the utility going to come through now. The Arc Star, the Thermite, and can they get these kills? They're trying to run, but it doesn't look like they'll be able to escape. Great shots here with the scout, but Season 1 Wingman going to go down.
Yeah, now they do have some cover, but you can see behind them as well, another squad popping their head up throughout all that. 2 brains, 1 controller, picking up so many kills. They take out BRS. Nick Cage match stuck here on the low ground now, trying to survive this onslaught. See, Oe Senpai will throw down that defensive bombardment, but Harbingers are going to full send it on this one. Shinny PC going down and getting thirsted off as well. Harbingers will pick up those kills for themselves. And now they have to try and recover and get their squad mates back up. Clinical still here on the high ground, trying to maintain this spot for themselves, but a lot of teams now rearing themselves on over as they try to come in for the third party. But I would advise against it, as only Harbingers didn't lose out on much. They're recovering well now. Lightstar Joe hitting that medkit for himself. Again, it's about how are they going to get back up safely. At some point, I think Clinical just has to drop down, and there he goes. He will go ahead and rejoin his squad. The port has been used, and now they have swapped off to the positions that 6XZ was in beforehand.
Yeah, they'll head south into the zone here. Great gymnastics there from Clinical to slide off and jump right into that portal, rotating back to his team. And they'll just take a bit of a low-profile approach here down below the bridge. They're going to get up this zip line, and now Harbingers, another great game here. They've been getting into a lot of those late circles. Not a win under their belt yet tonight in this final lobby, but they have been, in my opinion, our most consistent squad here outside of Team XOXO through our first 3 games and change. And they're looking to get into one of those late circles once again. 14 squads still available. They've got to scan another squad. They want to go for the push here as Nebusona's in trouble.
Oh boy, he's trying to work his way around that bubble, but we do have that push coming out from the Gibraltar. Nemusona going down. We need the rest of the squad to try and rejoin him. Lightstar Joe was able to heal up, but Clinical just gets beasted down. Now it's all up to Lightstar Joe, who does answer back, but it's still just going to be the man disadvantage, as now the third party comes out from 2 brains, 1 controller. They have at least 4 kills to their name, but I know that they have more than that. Well, we can only see the 4 tech there with 2 kills, 2 assists, picking up even more along the way. They'll be able to get this thirst as well, and there it is, a 3rd kill coming in for Tech.
Yeah, 2B1C in a fantastic spot right now. Great armor. Tech and Greek, definitely Tech at the very least, very close to getting his red armor. Greek in a good spot, and Slurpee wants to chase someone here with this wingman, able to land a shot there for 41 onto purple armor, but isn't going to keep going. Meanwhile, Greek able to finish off Musa, the man there. As we jump over, we've got ourselves a Tomcat Ratcam. No competition. It's just Triton available here, and he's just going to play for some placement points.
There's at least 8 kills for 2 brains, 1 controller right now. I love the change up in the compositions. I love the change up in how they're trying to play this one out. Really committing to the edge, and it has been working out for them for a squad that found themselves in like 16th or 14th position here. But here's Dude's Night Out. They've been here for some time now. They've picked up a couple of kill points, but they're getting full sent now by this squad and giving up the low ground. Here's, we'll see if that team tries to push out. They did get 1 connect with that defensive bombardment. Duke wants to push off of it, and he's able to get a beautiful spray down. No, not quite yet, but a lot of damage going across as they're getting punished themselves. They do have to be careful. As you can see, OP is dropped down to about 20 HP. They do get 2 knocks. It's going to be Slurpee and Greek, and 2 brains, 1 controller. They had such a good game, but now it looks like Tech left in this 1v3. They bit off a little bit more than they can chew, and they will fall here in top 13. Dude's Night Out survive that, and they'll be able to hold the northern side here, pick up all the loot that 2 brains, 1 controller brought over to them.
Wow, Dupe just catching 2 brains, 1 controller, kind of with their pants down, jumping off of that balcony and catching those 2 players just sitting outside of the door. They didn't seem ready for that aggressive play, and it doesn't work in their favor. Now Dude's Night Out going for another push. Great shred there from Verholz as they're looking for another squad. That's Malice Mamba going down, and they wipe their 2nd squad here in about 60 seconds. Dude's Night Out has arrived here in the qualifiers.
And that's massive, putting a slowdown onto Team XOXO, who we really didn't see on the kill feed in this game. And so they might be stunted there at about 51, 52, maybe 3 points. And so this is an opportunity for the rest of the lobby. Remember, Team XOXO had a 21-point lead heading into this one now, but their opportunity to try and grow that lead is gone. Everyone else looking to catch up, especially Dude's Night Out here, still holding the northern side of this zone. And we'll find out in just 15 short seconds where this ring is going to be pulling. But You have to imagine a lot of teams really favoring the position just south of Dude's Night Out, towards that circle building along with the pipes and platform to the west of that as well. Here on the east side of the zone, though, we're on board with Team Ego, playing this one out as a duo. Lost out on Luda, never able to get him back into the game. But no, this ring is going to be pulling to the south of the main drill inside Thermal Station. So we're going to have a lot of movement coming out from the north side.
Yeah, Ego, just 2 players here as Luda respawn all timed out here. So Ego in a certainly tougher position, but we have seen a team win from down a player. So it is not impossible here for Ego as they're just trying to get some shots, kind of defend that position to their southwest. And that circle is going to move to the southern half of Thermal Station. So things are going to start to get really interesting. I wonder if we can take a peek at the overall lobby right now. I want to see just who is alive. We've got 11 squads up, and the teams we're keeping an eye on is the likes of WHO, Harbingers, Legacy MX, those squads that are trying to chase down our team up top, Team XOXO. There it is, Dude's Night Out leading the way. So Obey Alliance still alive, that's huge. Skirt, Legacy MX, WHO, so some very important squads still alive here. Dude's Night Out with 8 kills. You were calling it out, Jamerson. A great performance from them here in Game 4.
And take a look, 2 Brains, 1 Controller. Before they went down, they had 10 kills overall. Imagine if they could have continued this kind of momentum into the late game. This could have been a 30-point game for them. Really caught them up onto the leaderboards, bring them into the top 4. Unfortunate for them, just full sending on to that fight. Not an opening frag. At this point, Ego now making their move on in. It looks like it's going to be relatively free as find themselves here on the low. Now Dude's Night Out starting to position and try to find a way on in. They're getting shot up from the platform to their south now, though. Things are going down. There's a team ahead of them. You can see that Bloodhound scan coming out, so they're going to use this Valkyrie redeploy to try to find a better spot. It looks like they're going to go for the jungle gym, but there's a number of teams here. You got Obey Alliance on the eastern jungle gym and another team on the other side, and so this is going to be difficult for them to try and win this one out. We'll see exactly where they land. They do have the information, scouting information coming out from Valkyrie as well with her passive, but here comes the squad. There's one above them. What's that Octane doing? Is he just a solo here? No, this should be Team Ego actually coming in, as Hambina's going to go ahead and toss up that bubble. It goes a little bit short, but they do push on in as Obey do pick up kill on to try and bring this one down to top 9 squads. Dude's Night Out, though, going all the way to the eastern south side of this zone. This is a great play coming out as scans do come out. There's a full 3-man ahead of them here. We'll see if they can walk this one down. Skittles now pushing forward with a decent spray, hitting for the purple armor, goes for, looked like maybe try to hit missiles there, but no, nothing quite yet. Right now, they need to bide their time. Again, this is a tense situation. If they can win this one out, though, they're in a great spot to try and finish this one off. Oh my goodness, dude, holding on the angle with that Kraber, doing big damage, forcing out the bubble early on. Skittles trying to punish it here. He does stick that bat and gets it off at the very least, but he's still in the middle of nowhere. 6XC's losing out on Box of T as OP's Verlust goes for another peek, taking out nades now, leaving this one down to a 1v3, and Dude's Night Out will be able to maintain this position, pick up another 3 kill points. This is an absolute massive game for Dude's Night Out.
I mean, there's still 6 other squads remaining, but the way Dude's Night Out is playing right now, it appears Game 4 is theirs to lose. The circle didn't quite move towards them. They'll have to work their way just a bit to the west, but the decision to head to the southern part of the zone here is certainly working out here for Dude's Night Out. Verholst with the kill lead right now. 5 kills to his name. We even saw Dupe with 4 of his own, so it's a fantastic performance here. They're looking to put a fat stack of points on the leaderboard here with just 1 more game to go. And the question is, can they get into this circle and get control? They're going to have to deal with at least a couple of squads headed that way. We saw WHO was controlling the high ground there in the middle of Thermal Station, but the circle moving away from them means they had to get pushed off of that strong position as Verholst is trying to put out as many shots here with this flat line before the rotation comes through. The one thing he does have to be concerned about is running a little low on that heavy ammo as we jump over to WHO. They're just on the northern edge of this next circle, and they're in a bit of a bind.
Yeah, they're trying to play the jungle gym here, but the defensive bombardment is just so huge. Even though stuck in the corner, Joe Max will be able to get the kill and the thirst onto Davis Wave, and they're just getting finished off now. Skittle Cake's coming on in. Skirt now in the back as they're going to lose out on Exile and helping Z Davis, the only one left. He does hit up that bad and gets that off. Backed up, cornered here as Dude's Night Out full committing onto the squad now. Beautiful play coming out from them. It looked like they were trying to commit essentially to just picking up kill points, and that is what they will be able to do. You can see all the third parties coming in as well. Another team coming in for the sandwich to pick up these kill points, but it's Dude's Night Out now holding this angle. You can see in this final ring, going to be pulling out into the middle of nowhere, so it's important to be able to finish these squads off, but the team up top is making this difficult now. Dupe having to hit up some cells here. He has 3 shots left in that Kraber. This can be the difference maker. We saw him open up with that before as a sliver of that Gibraltar's leg out, but it's going to be a full push out. No, never mind. It's the Valkyrie there that's left, and they will be able to finish this one off as Obey now losing out, as Dupe will be able to pick up that armor swap and then go ahead for the next fight, pushing on out to finish this one off. But Verhulst takes out Jaguar as they need to get Dupe back on up. They got 5 seconds left, and now they're running out of time. All the teams here just fighting in an absolute cluster, and this is, I think, the truest definition of a cluster. Stuck in that corner here as Anime Freaks are just sitting on the outside, picking up these kills very slowly, and they should be able to get the win. It's 3 squads remaining as Anime Freaks hold the center of the zone.
Yeah, it just looked like Dude's Night Out got a little too thirsty for those kill points, and it will cost them a win here in our 4th game of the day. They push into that choke point, they get third-partied and go down. And the big key there was we had Dupe. I was keeping an eye on his defensive bombardment, but he wasn't going to get it in time. But here comes the push. It's Pro MK, Legacy, MX here up against Anime Freaks, and they're going in for the finish.
Now you got to worry about that third party coming out from Obey Alliance. No trades, though. You can see that Anime Freaks are still fairly healthy. They've got the bubble down for the resets. Hambino's trying his best, but he will ultimately fall as that rack going down in top 3. Anime Freaks losing out on 1 throughout all that pyramid, now bleeding out. Bambino still needs to heal up, but this is going to be a 1v2. Beautiful Thermite gives them all the information they need as he hits down with the missiles as well, hitting for flesh. They're not trying to rush anything anymore. It's down to this 2v1. He goes for the last peek, and Anime Freaks will be able to finish him off, and they'll take game number 4.
Another one of those squads on the wrong side of the leaderboard that we were highlighting before this game, Jamerson. A huge win from them, though. This is Bambino, who we talked about at the start of the day, splitting up that Nestle Splash roster. He's now with a new squad here, and he's trying to get his way back into Series E, and a win like that is certainly going to do them a lot of good. A lot of points stacked up there. And Dude's Night Out, another squad, while they weren't able to win the game, they were racking up the kills in this one, and they're definitely going to be feeling good going into our final one of the day.
Yeah, so we're going to take a short break. When we get back, it'll be the last game of the night, so don't go anywhere, guys. You're not going to want to miss this.
I wasn't born in the spotlight. Nah. Had to grind and shine like a star on a hot night. And something about the struggle now resides in my muscles. And every trial and trouble helped to hang my hustle. Real rock stars don't chase the spotlight. It chases them.
is coming daily under pressure. Working on applying the skin. The true side trademark is at the edge of your dreams. Yeah. One shot, now the future is yours. I'm turning dreams into reality. In the lab with the formula and chemistry. Your memories spark and motivate and make the industry shake. Put the bars in the breaks. I'm talking one chance that was so close for the go. It's one shot, now the future is yours. Go!
Welcome back, everybody. 4 games in the books here, and just one more to go on our first day of qualifiers for Season 3 of Series E. We saw Anime Freaks, led by Bambino, able to grab the win there after a rough start to the day, but definitely some big points on the board there. Also, Dudes Night Out. I expect that we're going to see them here on our post-game stats as we pull those up for you, ladies and gentlemen. Obviously, Bambino leading the way for that Anime Freaks squad. They're able to grab the victory. Huge game from them here with only one more to go on the day. Meanwhile, Duplex, 6 kills there. Dudes Night Out absolutely popped off in that one. While they weren't able to get into the top 3, they racked up a ton of points, and that's certainly going to be something for them to build off of as our qualifiers continue. We'll have to see if they can finish the day as strong as they had in game number 4. And it's Verholst, 2,300 damage there. It was just all across the board. Dudes Night Out showed up here in game number 4, and I'm hoping they can do it again in game number 5. We'll check our Mobile 1 leaderboard, our Mobile 1 high performance moment, and we'll get ready for game number 5 after this break.
Hey, shake it, kiddo. Love Dad. Oh.
Kellogg's Rice Krispies Treats. A little love when it's needed.
Imagine you love frosting and filling.
I do love frosting and filling.
Oh, well, imagine if there was a way to enjoy that delicious goodness anywhere, anytime, out of the toaster, out of the box, out of one of those baggy thingies, with nothing but a thin layer of foil between you and...
Pasta.
Yes, Curtis. This is a commercial about pasta.
I love it.
Frosting and filling for your pasta.
I like pesto.
Cheese it, snapped. How's it taste? It's so thin, crispy, and cheesy. And I just want to keep eating it. And eating it.
They love them. Snapped. So good we may run out of cheese.
It's fruit refreshing, refreshingly sweet, but without sugar, 0 calorie treat. They're all our top bars, flavored splash.
It's fruit freshin'.
Kellogg's, Fruit Loops, Apple Jacks, Corn Pops, Tiger Paws. They're Jumbo.
Jumbo snacks, snack time heroes. Gonna take them on the go. Cereal, magnified, showing up for snacking time. Jumbo snacks, snack time heroes. Gonna take them on the go.
It's Jumbo. It's for snacking. It's Jumbo Snacks.
Stack Pringles flavors. Make new ones.
How much do you think Pringles paid these people?
Hardly anything.
Hey, you guys want to stack different Pringles flavors to create new flavor combos? Here, I'll go first. Pizza, barbecue, and jalapeno. The spicy barbecue pizza stack.
Get him!
Grandpa, what's going on?
Pringles. We're trapped in a Pringles commercial. They must have taken us in our sleep.
How can we get out?
We can't, Summer. They warned me this would happen, and I didn't listen.
Stack Pringles, make endless new flavors. Stacking Pringles to make new flavors. Make endless new flavors. Barbecue, wavy, and sour cream and onion equals a 3-layer dip stack.
All right, welcome back, guys, to Series E. We have one last game to close out the night, and it's all coming down to this. $1,000 on the line, but also, you got to remember, the long game. We have 15 more matches after this, 3 more nights of competition to secure a spot for Season 3 of Series E.
Yeah, 5 squads already inked for next season, but we have to decide 4 more, and tonight has been the start to all of that. And we've seen Team XO come out to a strong start, 2 wins in the first 3 games, but a bit of a rough performance in Game 4. You were highlighting it, Jamerson. It gave an opportunity for some of those other squads. Look at Legacy MX, Harbingers, WHO, and others to try and close that 21-point gap. Let's pull up our Mobile One leaderboard here to see if anybody was able to do so, and honestly, not really. 52 points, so XOXO only able to grab 1 point in that 4th game, but the gap still remains at 17. Legacy MX jump up into 2nd place, but there's still a ton of work to be done here, and there's only 1 game left in the day.
Yeah, and so again, it's going to be other squads trying to take down Team XOXO. But I think at any points on the board, really, that makes it that much more difficult at this point. With about 5 squads that can honestly try to contest, it's still a dangerous one. So we'll see how Team XOXO try to play this one out. We did see some change-ups coming out from teams like 2 Brains, 1 Controller, who do now move up to 11 points, or excuse me, 11th overall with 21 points. But if they could have had a bigger game, if they could have survived into the late game there, I feel like that could have been one of the squads to really keep an eye out for. They had about 8 kill points before they went down. Well, we'll see. I do like the change up for them. That might be basically the look for them moving on throughout the rest of our qualifiers with 3 nights left to go. Again, like I said, on the first night, there isn't much time to adjust, and you need to make those quickly. After 3 games, they did. We'll see how they close this last one out.
Yeah, and it really feels like 2 Brains, 1 Controller, just recognizing the kind of urgency you have to be under, right? The 4 spots aren't decided tonight, but there is not a ton of time to make up ground. So 1 bad night certainly could be the difference between you qualifying and not. Let's check out our Mobile One high performance moment here of game number 4, and it was this just, as you called it, cluster here near this final circle. It was the aggressive push from Dudes Night Out that doesn't work in their favor. They wanted these kill points, but the third party arrives and Dudes Night Out goes down.
And ultimately, this is a position that when you look at the spot that we're in, when you looked at the deficit that they were under on game number 4, with how many kills they had, if they are able to pick these up, if they get the win, they put themselves within about 10 points, essentially. And so I can definitely understand why they try to go for this. But again, when you're under that kind of time constraint, when you're under this kind of pressure, mistakes are going to be made. They do pick up some kills here onto Obey and such, but they were never able to clean this one up properly, and they got punished for it, but I definitely respect the effort for it.
Yeah, I'm hoping we continue to see the aggression from 2 Brains, 1 Controller going into our final game. It certainly paid off for them there. It was crazy to check with still, I believe, 13 squads alive, and they had 8 kills all by themselves. So it was certainly a great start to the game, and Dudes Night Out looking to carry that momentum into the final game here. The aggression paid off. Let's keep it rolling with 1 more left to go.
Yeah, and of course, all eyes are going to be on Team XOXO, our current leaders in the lobby now. You said with 17 points between them and 2nd place. A central drop location as well, having always priority basically on the rotations here, really utilizing that to their advantage. We'll see if they can do this out once again, but it's about avoiding a lot of the squads. They can play this one a little bit more passively in game number 5 and just make sure that they get the placement points, and honestly, placement points itself without kills, if they hit top 3, top 4, might be enough to secure the win today.
Yeah, when you look at Legacy MX, who is that team 17 points behind, that lead is not insurmountable. We saw Team XOXO starting the day off with a 23-point game in game number 1. They had the 12 placement points and 11 kills to their name, and we then saw them have a 1-point game in game number 4. So depending on which Team XOXO shows up here in the final game of the day, there's certainly an opening for these squads to try and knock them down and snatch away first place, but it's not going to be an easy task. I hope game number 5, I believe we're very close to dropping in and getting things rolling here for our final game of the day. And for those of you who are at home watching, don't miss out on day 2. It is going to be this Thursday, June 3rd. So don't miss out on those games. And if you want to sign up, there is still space available in these qualifiers. If you want to compete, think you can take down these squads, head over to matcherino.com/ESA for a shot at being a future Series E Pro.
Yeah, very busy day for all of our competitors, or a very busy week. You got champs going on right now as well, and so for the teams competing in champs, there's just a lot of pressure, especially for the teams that aren't signed right now, and especially when they're trying to get this extra level of support here at SeriesE, being a partnered squad, having 3 months, 4 months of salaried as well. I mean, it makes a massive difference when you're competing at this level as well. So a lot on the line. Now we have one final game left to go. Again, it's a cumulative qualifier here, right? And so while this last match is still important, we have to look at the long game itself. 15 more matches, 3 more nights of qualifiers to be played out.
Yeah, and that's hopefully what a lot of the teams that were able to play tonight, specifically the ones that qualified for this final lobby, take away. It's not that you have to have a phenomenal performance on a single night. Hopefully they can learn from some of the mistakes and successes they had here tonight and build off of them, because you're going to be seeing a lot of these squads again and again with 3 more days remaining. So hopefully as we get to Thursday and then next week, there's a better sense of where are people dropping, what kind of teams can I push early, do I want to play aggressive or not, am I playing center zone or edge in this lobby? And as teams start to get a better sense of that, I think it's going to get really interesting down the line as we get closer to the end of qualifiers.
And I think especially in this situation, and especially with how season 2 ended for our relegated teams, and for the team that were able to eke on by Team Incel, they're definitely a team that you can look at. In the last 3 days of competitions, they absolutely popped off to actually make it in. They played with, I think, like a 100-point deficit at one point. They were able to break that and secure their spot by 2-3 points. And so with 4 spots on the line, you need to give it your all every single day, every single game. But here we go. We're heading into game number 5, our final game of the evening. We have $1,000 on the line. We do have the drops coming out. Team XOXO will be taking their drop, of course, all the way over there at Fragment East. And now joining on board with Team Anime Freaks, who looks like they are taking survey camp. We saw them, of course, getting into some footsies, some neutral game fighting early on. We'll see if they do get contested once again over here at survey camp.
My body is ready, Jamerson. The first 4 games have certainly delivered here to kick off qualifiers. It's been a very fun day of competition, and I think we're just going to get more of the same here in our 5th game. Anime Freaks able to dig themselves out of an early rut. A big win for them in game number 4 has them in position to, at the very least, have a very strong finish to night 1 of the qualifiers. They're going to get in here and loot the tunnel. No armor here early, which is unfortunate to an extent, but we'll see if they go for one of the aggressive approaches we have seen from teams later in the day. Look at Dude's Night Out and 2 Brains, 1 Controller, who had strong showings in game 4. It was more of a forward approach from them, not sitting back in center circle. They were hunting teams and getting kill points for themselves. So we'll see what the approach is from Anime Freaks here in the final game of the day.
Does seem like this ring is going to be starting to pull down to the south now. Never mind, we have a better look at it. It's going all the way over towards Overlook. A lot of interesting circles that this one can end on. The train tracks definitely a heavy focus, but with the rocks in play on the north side of Overlook, I think that's the position that you're definitely looking for, especially with how hard this ring is hugging. The second ring I'm speaking of is hugging the first ring right now. It's a pretty good indicator that it'll continue to go to the northeast there. So keep an eye out on that one. But holding inside Overlook itself proper can be strong for the team that is over there. They'll have access to a beacon. They'll have a pretty decent position to try and gatekeep other squads from coming on in. But here we go, our first fight. 2 Brains, 1 Controller trying to get aggressive once again onto the Lava Fisher team. This time around, though, they're a little bit disjointed. As you can see, Slurpee G on the front line with that Wraith. They're trying to go for the airburst, and this one might actually connect. No, it doesn't somehow, but Tech does hit with that flat line, trying to put some fear into them, trying to focus them down and get them into that building to make it a little bit more easy to approach this fight, though. But the utility's coming out from the other side now as Tech redeploys himself to go onto the high ground there. Just a little bit of a higher high ground, but Darkstars are connecting. Great, taking damage, and this push is getting slowed down quite a bit. And so now this is the worrying part. Do the teams to the north of them that were playing over by Trials, do they come in for the third party? Here's Greek, though, trying to get something going. It's for 75 now, and the Gibraltar accidentally falls down. They try to turn on Slurpee G, but Tech will get that first knock, and it's gonna be the same squad that they fought in game number 4. Now low down, now down to the 1v3, and 2 brains, 1 controller will wipe them off the server. But here comes the instant third party. This is what I was talking about. Another squad rolling up, and Tech hasn't been able to heal up quite yet. They're the ones that retreat into the building, but knowing that there were no trades, that squad just tried to find a moment of opportunity with that. Arcstar didn't get it, and they instantly back off.
2 brains, 1 controller with an aggressive start to game 5. No surprises there. And as soon as the fight ends, a third party arriving. No surprises on that one either. But as you mentioned, that squad elects to back off, and 2 brains, 1 controller will use this Valkyrie ultimate. They're going to get that redeploy in position. They're going to just head further over here to the west, looking to continue looting up. They've got some great armor to start off here. Obviously, Tech already working with the purple armor, and they've actually found a squad. They're going for the push. Beast of the Hunt activated, and we're going to get more 2B1C fighting.
Yeah, I thought they were going to chase out the team that tried to come in for the third party, but they found another opportunity here. They do have to be careful. They know that there's another squad in the area as well, but here comes the full send now. Slurpee G is in with that EVA 8, hitting for the gold. Has to hit that Q, but he's done enough to turn that focus away to him. Tech will get the first knock. Lightstar Joe to go down, and he will continue his push, but his team has run out of armors, and now he is by himself. Clinical has answered back. Greek and Slurpee G did not use this opportunity to heal up, and Greek now goes to the peak. He's dropped low, but he does get the knock onto Nemusona, but the thermite ticks are too strong. Clinical will be able to answer back. Slurpee G now trying his best to slow heal this one up. It is down to a 1v1, but the res is being popped up top. Does he have any utility to throw up there? He does not. He's just going for the full heal. Now we'll try to challenge in the 1v2. Never mind. It's the retreat coming out from him as he pops that portal to get Greek behind safety here, but still the 1v2 that he's fighting off of. And they should full send very shortly. He starts popping that res. The scan comes out. Now here comes the peak from that caustic, and Lightstar Joe will finish him off. Unfortunate, 2 brains, 1 controller will go down in the top 16 there. On board with Nick Cage match here on the northern side of the zone. They're holding down the train with the team coming in.
One of our most action-packed starts to a game on the day. 2 brains, 1 controller. They wanted to continue that aggressive mindset, but it comes back to bite them as they are eliminated, and they won't even break into the top 10. They were at least able to grab some kill points thanks to that early fight, but placement points will not be there for them this time around. We jump over to FMS as they're looking for a fight here. Mullis with that EVA 8 trying to get some damage down. They're getting pushed from, it appears, multiple different directions as there's a defensive bombardment, and they're looking to finish off some kills.
Yeah, just fighting on the edges. This is what I wanted to see out of more of our squads right now. Really committing to that, playing off of that. But here comes a third party. Dudes night out. They need a massive game here to make up ground up against Team XOXO. We didn't see any trades, and so this is still going to be a difficult fight. With the armor swaps, with the heals, this should be a full fight now. Dudes night out, though, trying to corner them. They do have the scans coming down from Verhulst as he does push forward. Decent damage out with that Volt. He does have the Spitfire to follow up as well if he needs. Purple mag from the Volt might be enough. That team has fully backed away, though, but Dudes night out are not giving up quite yet. They're running out, and Mullis will go down. Duke picks it up with the R301, finds a second onto Silence, and now it's the 1v3. Dudes night out. Really picking up the tempo here in our final game of the day. They should be able to hunt down this last player, but he is being a bit slippery here. Hitting for the flesh, still ticking away, and it looks like they might have him cornered just as he turns the corner. He might have actually lost track of him.
He is running as fast as he can. He's going to keep taking minimal damage there from the ring, but Dude's Night Out wants that kill, and they're going to do everything that they can to chase him down. We swap over here to We Know Joker. They had a couple of solid performances to start off the day, but it's been fairly quiet from them over the last couple of games here, and they've run into some action here. That's going to be Beast of the Hunt from Nissisk. And let's see if they can get aggressive. They want to get up to the roof here and try and grab some kills. They do have quite a bit of information thanks to this Beast of the Hunt. But are they going to be able to get the kills? Good armor from Mike Dark, but there's a push coming from a third party. So the third party's already arriving. It's going to get real hectic here really quick.
And the team that was above them, Khan, do just go ahead and bail, go over to the north side of Fragment here. Scans comes down to cover that reach tree, but you got to be careful going down that elevator shaft as he climbs back up. He does take some damage for that effort. Now armor's cracked. They're going to go ahead and pop that jump pad, but Nissisk is taking so much damage now. It's Team Superior to show up to try and come in for the third party. They might be able to get a kill here, but Joey Blackout still up top, slowing things down a bit here as Team Superior not able to find the timing quite yet. It's going to be 6xZs that actually gets that kill, but there's Joey Blackout getting the knock now as they hunt them down across the bridge. You got to be careful of the nades. Joey Blackout by himself does have that bubble to utilize, but he has no armor. He needs to slow things down while the rest of his team catch up. Rakinishu, Joey Blackout aren't here, but there we go. Things slowing down as they're having to fight from a squad that is in that broken building. They back away for now as a lot of the utility goes down.
Yeah, that was starting to look really familiar. Joey Blackout running ahead of his team, trying to force a 1v1. It didn't play out for him very well on multiple occasions during Season 2 of Series E, but he isn't punished this time around, able to regroup with Rakinishu and Prodigy Aces. And this is a squad that, again, you know, another one of those teams that we have high expectations for, but is on the wrong side of the leaderboard. They need to have a strong finish to the day here so they have something to build off of. Going into day 2 is, oh, there's a Gibraltar right there. Hello, Rakinishu.
Gotta be careful, but the drop down with that PK and Prodigy Aces to follow up. Moon will get finished off. You have the bubble as well. Instant armor swap. Medkit getting popped by Rakinishu now in. Prodigy Aces wants to continue this push. He's above, he's forward, but he does slow things down to just get up to full heals. Scan down now, but nothing really coming up from that for themselves, but Team Superior are going to continue to play off the edges here to try and find more kills. We're down to 10 squads, 28 players remaining here. As you can see, Prodigy is going back to that bridge to find the other squad that was pushing them. But now on board with Nick Cage match, you got Shinny PC, Oe Senpai, and Season 1 Wingman playing the rocks. This is the position that I was talking about when we saw this ring initially.
It seems like we almost had a handshake agreement from the entire lobby that, hey, last game of the day, let's all push every fight that we could find, because this has been the most action-packed early game here as it's Team Superior leading the way right now. 5 kills for them. Harbingers right on their heels. Dudes Night Out still alive. Team XOXO as well. So we were highlighting it coming into this game that Team XOXO still needed to perform in this final one to ensure they didn't get caught. And Oe Senpai's in big trouble here as Nick Cage match in a scrappy fight.
It's down to a 2v1 though. They haven't taken that much damage until Shinny PC finds it difficult to move past that downed body. And here comes the third party out from Obey Alliance to clean things up. And just an excellent third party for them, as they should be able to pick up all these armors. Is going to be a massive boon for them, and they have one of the best spots in the zone, as you can see, continuing to pull on over here to overlook.
Obey Alliance trying to get in the door. All I could see was the Eric Andre let me in meme right there as they were trying to bust through that door. Bodies blocking the way, but they are able to clean it up, and Obey Alliance in the top 8. At least 1 kill to their name. Crook here does have one himself. They're all sitting on purple armor, so at the very least here with 8 squads remaining, they're set up fairly well. They're going to be able to loot up quite a few bodies in this building, and they're near center zone. So Obey Alliance, they weren't able to complete a victory in a game earlier on in the day, but they are at least set up fairly strong here in our final match of day 1.
Team Superior make their way out of Frag East. They are over here. And they do have pings down on to Obey Alliance. Rakinishu getting tagged as he was trying to join his squad up on that sniper post, but They've got the information. There are going to be caustics in the area, and so they have to be careful cutting out these angles. You can see how Rakanishu is checking everything like he's playing Valorant over here. And now they're starting to push up the scan on down onto all three members of Obey. Do they have the utility? Try and force them off the roof. Joey Blackout looking towards him to see if they have the defensive bombardment. There it is. They're going to go ahead and throw that down, force them into the building. But they have to understand that there is a caustic on the other side here, making this one a bit more difficult. Good damage out from Rakanishu there with the PK, but a lot of it did go into that arm shield. They're still cornering them, though, and they're trying to buy their time throughout all of this caustic gas to try to find the opening, a good scan out. But Joey Blackout was taking a lot of damage, forcing out the bubble, and so that's going to make this push that much harder. They're not going to have the bubble to try and push in from one of the doorways. Rakanishu, another PK shot, but he has to back off as he himself is cracked. And now they're taking a lot of flesh damage from that gas. They're trying their best to tank it up. And the thing is, with the nerfs to the caustic gas, you can just heal through it. But Prodigy Aces goes in by himself. He trades his life for one, but Rakanishu tries to follow up as well, leaving Joey Blackout by himself. 6xZ's now coming in for the third party. The massive huge for nades here, but again, he will fall, and it's up to Owizzy along with Box of T. They will finish off Obey, and it looks like as well picking up some more kills. Harbingers, though, over here in a fight now inside Overlook proper as they make a full push to the eastern side, forcing team out. But oh no, Skittlecakes, Verhulst and company show up. Now it's just Nemusona left to himself as he's just going to go ahead and call it here. Dude's night out, controlling the top yellow tankers, and they're going to go ahead and throw down nades onto these downed bodies. We'll see if they can pick up any kills here, but this is an excellent position for them. As you can see, the ring will continue to pull on over to these buildings.
Wow, aggression being punished in this final game, as that's going to be Dude's Night Out finishing another kill. Kill leader goes to Dupe. We saw Prodigy Aces doing his best impression of Joey Blackout, going for that solo 1v3 push and gets just bodied by that squad. And then 6xZ's come in for the third party and the finish. It is chaos here. And now all of the sudden 5 squads left. Dude's Night Out trying to do it again. We'll see if they can get the placing this time they weren't able to grab in game 4, but it seems at the very least the fragging continues for Dupe, Skittlecakes, and Verhulst.
5 squads remaining, 1 team down to a duo. Skittlecakes going for the loot on the low ground there. Did ping out a gold armor for them, so that could be an armor swap. If you can just go ahead and ferry one on over, that could be absolutely massive. Playing off this position, you need the armor swaps, you need the fast heals as well. Going up against a crypto comp on the other side, that's going to be Legacy MX, another one of our squads there in our top 4, top 5 right now, who were able to pick up a win earlier on in the day. And at this point, it's about who finishes off strong. We got 6xZ's, we've got LNW, we got Exile below, and so this is massive. We'll see who finishes this one off strong.
Yeah, no Team XOXO, they're out. I'm curious where they came in placing, how many kills they were able to get, because Legacy MX, if they've got a lot of kills right now, they have a huge opportunity. If they can get the win, that's 12 points. And then it's just 5 more to make up that gap if XO wasn't able to put up any points in this final game. So a huge opportunity for the Legacy MX squad, but Dude's Night Out are going to be the gatekeepers. They're working with some great high ground inside of the next circle here as well. The circle will come to them, so Dude's Night Out in a very comfortable position as this final game winds down.
Still holding the high ground here, as they are faring over the loot. There we go. Gold helmet going over towards, it looks like Verhulst, and so maybe Beast the Hunt almost there for them. They do have the defensive bombardment as well. Skittles is just a glorified loot bot going back and forth for his squad, trying to find whatever he can. I mean, used to be Wraith's duty before with the portal along with Pathfinder now, but yeah, things should be slowing down. Plenty of buildings for our 5 squads to be holding down right now. Gonna come down to this last ring though, as it'll force our teams basically on top of each other. This is going to be a very classic circle. Should be ending on the stairs just below Dude's Night Out, and there you have it. It is going to continue to pull into Overlook, and 2 squads will have to make this rotation across. It's going to be 1 duo along with the full trio. You can see 6xZ's holding the big building to the northwest. They have to make their way on in. This is going to be a difficult thing for them, as can imagine the other three teams are keeping an eye on the western edge there. You can see Skittles even setting up crossfire angle. Instead, this two-man are just going to try and full send it onto 6xZs, giving away a free kill to them.
Yeah, the circle continues to come to Dudes Night Out, so it just continues to favor them. They're in such a fantastic position here, and key ultimates available. The defensive bombardment. I would imagine the Beast of the Hunt is also available for Veilholst here. So while I don't imagine them using the Valkyrie ultimate, though they certainly could. We've seen those teams kind of go for it just to delay, to get up to that high ground, buy themselves a little bit of room and time, but it certainly would be risky with the amount of sight lines that these teams would have on them. A 6xZ maybe looking for a push here. Was Izzy taking a lot of damage? His armor is broken. He's going to hit the battery here. Do they want to keep this push going? It's a very, very tense moment. Just a bit of a stalemate between these squads as they're all kind of poking and prodding, just waiting for the ring to close here. 10 seconds from that.
Yeah, they can try to walk this one up and play on basically the edge of that building, but it's still a difficult thing as they do back away. At the Beast and Hunt popping throughout all this, and go ahead and throw that scan, trying to find that lone rat. That's going to be a free kill point for themselves, also securing top 4 for all of our squads, and they do spot out Nissa, so it's going to be Box OT. He picks that one up. Another kill point going 6xZ's way, making this rotation just a little bit easier, not having to deal with the rat behind them. But now, with 27 seconds left to go, they're still milling about, trying to figure out how they walk this one in. The bubble is going to be used by Box OT. Now they're going to go ahead and use that jump pad to try and take the roof here. And they do force that team back. You can see the nades coming out as well as they lose out on Wizzy, and they're gonna have to drop down now. This is a very dangerous spot, but they do have a moment of reprieve here on the low ground, but they're getting tagged up. Box the T, the healthiest one on this squad as nades is able to hit up that bat. You can see Legacy MX trying to push out. It's gonna be a full drop down, and Dudes Night Out are just watching, loving what they see on the kill feed. They of course want to get involved, but they're not going to make the same mistake from game number 4. They'll allow Legacy MX to pick up those kills, and now it's down to our final 3 squads. The other 2 teams afraid to push up though, but you can see the crossfire being set up. Legacy MX, it's going to be Skittle Cakes to secure a thirst onto 1. There is a res at the very least, so Legacy MX playing this one out as a duo.
Yeah, 3-3-2, 8 players left. Huge fight there from Legacy MX, and they're obviously going to have a difficult time with 2 full squads against them, but a huge pickup for Legacy MX as they try to chase down Team XOXO. We don't entirely know where the points stand here with how things have worked out in this 5th game, but at the very least, Legacy MX has an opportunity to steal away first place. They had the beacon. Interesting,
Mobile
but it got
respawn
broken.
beacon coming in. It's going to be quite tight, but it looks like they'll be able to get him down just in time. But you can see Skittles holding the angle now. He's got the Spitfire here, and he's going to be able to lay into him. Not quite connecting with the damage. You can see surviving with 30 HP. Gets the red armor as well. Throwing down the missiles. No connects there for them, but good effort out from Skittle Cakes. He was the one that did ultimately take him out with the missiles, and try to do that once again. Will not work out for him, but this time around, again, Dudes Night Out. Have to bide their time. You have the gold helmet going over to Skittle Cakes. Try to get himself that missile again. It's a pretty long cooldown, about 30 seconds there. And if you can use that to pressure Legacy MX on the other side, you can see they're getting tagged from both teams who have priority on that zone. They're going to try and slide in. They have some cover behind the boxes here. They throw down the extra heals, but they're getting tagged by those nades, by the missiles as well. See the mobile respawn beacon being set up just as extra cover from that low ground squad. The bubble being used as well. Skittle Cakes does not have the gold armor, excuse me, gold helmet anymore. And you can see how long that cooldown is on the tactical. Now Legacy MX slowly pushing up, but it's only a matter of time before they're forced out.
I don't know if you're ever going to see a more clutch respawn beacon than that one from Legacy MX. Now, is it going to be enough to secure them a victory here? I don't know. The positioning is not necessarily in their favor. Dudes Night Out here working with the high ground. The zone is closing, and these teams are running out of room. But Skittle Cakes with the high ground getting the shots here, and they want to take the win to close the night, Jamerson.
It is still 3 squads, though. They have to be careful about overcommitting onto the team, onto the low ground now. Bubble has been used by the other team as they are now going in for the full kill. Exile picks up 1, and oh no! It's going to be up to Verhulst left in this 1v. I don't even know. It's going to be Team Skirts that come in and take the final win of the day, even for a victory lap down at the bottom of the map. GG's as they get that last win.
Skirt with a clutch victory there. It looks like it was, again, dude's night out with the opportunity to take it, but Skirt working from the low ground, actually able to win it. Legacy MX tries to push in but goes down. It was chaos. We saw a defensive bombardment, Valkyrie rockets all over the place, and somehow Skirt comes out of it on top.
Yeah, but of course, with so much on the line, with $1,000 on the line for first and second place, $700 going to first place, $300 going to second place. Our admins need to do some math here, so we're going to take a short break, and when we get back, we'll be able to announce our first and second place winners of the evening. So don't go anywhere, guys. We'll be right back.
I wasn't born in the spotlight. Nah. Had to grind and shine like a star on a hot night. And something about the struggle now resides in my muscles. And every trial and trouble helped to hang my hustle. Real rock stars don't chase the spotlight. It chases them.
Hey, shake it, kiddo. Love Dad. Oh.
I've got this.
Kellogg's Rice Krispies treats. A little love when it's needed.
Cheese it, snapped. How's it taste? It's so thin, crispy, and cheesy. And I just want to keep eating it. And eating it. They love them.
Snapped. So good we may run out of cheese.
It's fruit, refreshingly sweet, but without sugar, 0 calorie treat. They're all our top fresh flavored splash.
It's fruit freshen.
Kellogg's, Fruit Loops, Apple Jacks, Corn Pops, Tiger Paws. They're Jumbo.
Jumbo snacks, snack time heroes. Go take them on the go. Cereal, magnified, showing up for snacking time. Jumbo snacks, snack time heroes. Go take them on the go.
It's Jumbo. It's for snacking. It's Jumbo Snacks.
Stack Pringles flavors. Make new ones.
How much do you think Pringles paid these people?
Hardly anything.
Hey, you guys want to stack different Pringles flavors to create new flavor combos? Here, I'll go first. Pizza, barbecue, and jalapeno. The spicy barbecue pizza stack.
Get him!
Grandpa, what's going on?
Pringles! We're trapped in a Pringles commercial. They must have taken us in our sleep.
How can we get out?
We can't, Summer. They warned me this would happen and I didn't listen.
Stack Pringles, make endless new flavors. Stacking Pringles to make new flavors. Make endless new flavors. Barbecue, wavy, and sour cream and onion equals a 3-layer dip stack.
Welcome back, everybody. All 5 games of the day are done, and we saw Skirt finishing it off with the victory. Dudes Night Out trying to grab the win that escaped them earlier on in the night. Sadly, they weren't able to do it, and we saw Legacy MX trying to close that 17-point gap as best they could. We will check our Mobile One leaderboard and close out the night in a little bit, but before that, let's check our post-game stats here for our final game of the day. And it was Z Davis leading this Skirt squad to a victory. They've been kind of up and down, haven't really been all over the kill, the leaderboard tonight, but a strong finish to the day is certainly something for Skirt to build on. But again, it's Dudes Night Out on the stat leaderboard here. 4 kills for Verholz gives him kill leader for the final game, and 2,001 damage from Skittlecakes. We'll have to see if Dudes Night Out on Thursday can bring the victories that escaped them tonight, but at the very least, they brought the fragging power, and it is certainly something they can be proud of here after our first day of qualifiers. We're going to head to one final break here, but when we come back, Jamerson and I will check out that leaderboard and close out the show.
Versus coming daily under pressure. Working on the plot and the scheme. The true side trademark is at the edge of your dreams and talking. Yeah. One shot, now the future is yours. I'm turning dreams into reality. In the lab with the formula and chemistry. The memories spark and motivate and make the industry shake. Put the balls in the brakes. I'm talking one chance episode. Going for the goal. It's one shot. Now the future is yours. Go.
Imagine you love frosting and filling.
I do love frosting and filling.
Oh, well, imagine if there was a way to enjoy that delicious goodness anywhere, anytime, out of the toaster, out of the box, out of one of those baggy thingies, with nothing but a thin layer of foil between you and...
Pasta.
Yes, Curtis. This is a commercial about pasta.
I love it.
Frosting and filling for your pasta.
I like pesto.
All right, guys, welcome back. As we get back from the break here, it's all about our final Mobile One leaderboard. Who ends up on top? Was anyone able to dethrone Team XOXO? They had 2 wins in their bag before we head into the final game. But let's go ahead and take a look at the Mobile One leaderboard to see who ended up on top. And Dudes Night Out, unfortunately, are not able to take that first place spot, but they do end up in second place with 53 points, and all just came down to maybe winning out one more team fight in the last 2 games, and they could have taken the win today.
Yeah, huge finish from Dudes Night Out, and if you're that squad, you're probably looking at your start to the day. I think they only had 3 points through the first 3 games, and that is just barely less than the gap between them and Team XOXO. So if you're Dudes Night Out, you're just saying, okay, if we can have a stronger start on Thursday, there's no reason we can't take first place and beat out Team XOXO. They closed the night out stronger than anybody. It was a great way to finish the day, but still some things to work on. But hey, that is a great start to qualifiers. 53 points under their belt, and now they are, in the top 4, right? If it all ended today, XOXO, Dudes Night Out, Legacy MX, and Obey Alliance would qualify. So they are, at the very least, strong to start off qualifiers. Yeah,
let's take a look at the Mobile One high performance moment of our final game of the day. And it came down to this final 3 squads. Legacy MX, they were able to recover, get their third back on in, but they were still under pressure of the ring. You can see them trying to walk up, but Verhelst has the angle, takes out 2. Unfortunately, never able to really finish them off here, and they turned their focus now over to Team Skirt that was below them. This is a moment where I felt if maybe Skittlecake still had that golden helmet, could have actually worked out incredibly strong for them. Have another tactical up at this point to try to apply more pressure. They do trade away, ultimately coming down to Verhelst once again. But ultimately, Team Skirt bide their time at that stairwell, go for the peak, and get the win.
Yeah, it was another one of those instances that we've seen a few times throughout tonight where patience paid off. We saw aggression in the forms of, two brains, one controller early on in Game 5, that over-aggression getting punished. And in the end, that trend continues. Skirt bide their time. They wait for Legacy MX and Dudes Night Out to come to them, and they're able to win out the fight. So a great way to finish it off, and a huge boon for Skirt, who had not racked up a ton of points so far on the day. They're able to climb up into that, I believe, top 7 to finish off day 1. So that's certainly a great way to finish off the start of qualifiers.
Yeah, so congratulations once again, Team XOXO, for getting the win on the day. $700 in their pocket, along with Dudes Night Out. They went up $300 for themselves, but that's not it for qualifiers. We still have 3 nights left to go, so we will be back on Thursday. Before we close out, though, of course, everyone, good luck in your matches tomorrow for the North American qualifiers for group stages in Champs. That will do it for us, but guys, make sure you're following the channel. Make sure you're subscribed, because we will have a lot of fun things going on in the channel. We have our pre-show Deal or Steal, which Yeso himself will be hosting. And so if you want a chance at some awesome swag, make sure you're subbed to the channel. That's going to do it for us, though. We'll see you guys on Thursday. Have a great night, and we'll see you then.